imagine paying that kind of money for a ticket just to go in and renew my driver's license either. So, I mean, I guess you're screwed either way. Like, if I just do it the normal way, I mean, do I have to go multiple days, maybe?
I just, there are certain things that irritate you more. You start to absolutely hate the older you get. Lines are one of those things. Like, I don't like going to a restaurant. If I go to a restaurant, they're like, we're on a 45-minute wait.
No, just go somewhere else.
Yeah, a lot of times it does mean it's like 10 or 15.
Yeah.
So I might put myself on that wait with the phone number, go across the street, try to get something if it opens up long enough. But I'm just not going to sit on a bench and wait for 30 or 45 minutes.
No, I'm with you 100% on that. You can't renew your driver's license online, at least in Alabama, I don't think. Chad is asking that because they got to do the photo, right? You got to go in to renew your license. Can you do it online?
You can renew online. Tim says you can renew online.
Can you, Melton?
Yep, I've done it.
You have?
Yeah.
What do they do about the photo? Just use your old photo?
They use your old photo.
Interesting.
Yeah, but wonder if you've changed your look.
That's happened with me.
Yeah. So are you unbearded in your photo?
I am. Well, not unbearded, but I don't have the massive mangy beard that I have now.
Okay. Yeah. Mangy? I've never thought of it as mangy.
I've still got long hair in my photo.
Do you?
Yeah.
Interesting. Like, I don't remember. You said yesterday hair touched your collar when you got here. I don't remember.
I do remember that.
Oh, yeah. It was like past my shoulders.
Because I remember one day he just walked in and he had the I don't want to call it a schoolboy cut. I don't know exactly compared to what you had, but it really jumped out. Because we only knew Jeeves with that long hair for, I don't know, close to a year maybe?
Probably around that long.
God, hey, nothing like karaoke rage, right?
Oh, yeah. I always get fired up about karaoke.
Upset that the karaoke machine at the Florida bar was not working, a man pointed a pistol at another patron and fired off a round, according to police, who ended up arresting the suspect, a convicted felon, barred from possessing a firearm. Police allege Aaron Jablonski, 34 years old, was at the Overtime Sports Bar around 2:30 a.m. on Saturday. Does he look a little like our man Jace? Talking about Jace that listens to the show.
I don't remember what he looks like.
Yeah, in the eyes a little bit. I think he does.
Maybe. I don't know. I can't picture him in my mind.
Yeah, I think he looks a little like Jace.
Interesting.
Now, this happened 2:30 a.m. Saturday when the karaoke unavailability resulted in him exiting the bar, quote, upset about the music. Now, outside of the business, 26-year-old man tried to get Jablonski to calm down, according to the arrest affidavit. He was denied karaoke. Jablonski was not in the calming down mood, according to cops. Jablonski allegedly pulled a handgun from his waist, pointed it at the victim, saying, "I don't give an effing care." This was seen by witnesses that he brandished the firearm, then he fired off a round. Victim, whose Facebook page was several photos of him performing karaoke, told police he was in fear that Jablonski would kill him. When officers arrived at the bar, Jablonski was still in possession of the Glock 9.
The next round anywhere you go with official Next Round gear. Buy yours today at nextround.store.
By now, you guys know how I feel about my fashion. However, did you know that I care about your fashion choices? Cargo shorts are out, flip-flops are only appropriate on the boat, and please throw away that stained t-shirt from college. You may be thinking, EG, that's all I own. What do I do? Here's what you do. Go to nextround.store and fill your cart with a wardrobe that is approved by me. Stock up on logo t-shirts, hoodies for football season, and hats for every day of the week. Trust me on this one and head over to nextround.store to get stocked up for this season.
Think about the best summer nights of your life. How many of those were in a great t-shirt? Visit nextround.store to get the perfect t-shirt for the next perfect southern night. Nextround.store. The memories are waiting.
Everything Next Round is on demand now in the podcast section at nextroundlive.com. Call the Next Round now at 205-734-0923. Jim Dunaway, Lance Taylor, Ryan Brown, live from the Birmingham Racecourse Casino Studios. The Next Round, presented by Bud Light, is on now.
Welcome in. It is the Next Round. He is Jim Dunaway in Cleveland, laughing at me helping Tyler with how many technical issues this morning, Tyler? Would you
all
of them?
Still dealing with them.
Still dealing with them? Every technical issue that could have happened to Tyler this morning happened.
Brown had to remount a graphics card. That's how bad things have gotten.
You laughed,
this morning.
Dunaway. I remounted a graphics card, whatever that means.
Yeah, I mean, truthfully, I don't even know what's going on. Here I am in Cleveland, nestled outside of Rocket Arena, ready to go on game day, and I hear the music, and I look in the studio, and we got a dummy,
that's
an
me.
empty chair, and whatever's in my chair.
He is Jim Dunaway in Cleveland. I am Ryan Brown in studio, and you see Tyler there as well. Scott is here. EG will be jumping in. Little T is up in Lexington. There's Scott. Little T is up in Lexington as Auburn wins yesterday. We're going to hear some very honest conversation from Stephen Pearl, the associate head coach, and Dylan Cardwell, one of Auburn's stars, about Auburn's performance yesterday. As you can see, Dunaway is in Cleveland. Our NCAA tournament coverage is presented by our friends at Culver's and also the NCAA women's basketball tournament, which is coming here to Birmingham. Let's start. Good morning from Cleveland, Jim. This is the way I intended to start the show before I had the fire extinguisher out for Tyler. How are you this morning, man? Everything good?
It is going fantastic. It's been a great morning up here in Cleveland after a great night last night watching the NCAA tournament. I must confess there was some joy in my heart when I was first told by Forrester that Lance had Clemson in the Final Four.
Yep.
That doesn't mean anything. I've lost a Final Four team early and have not finished last before. So, I mean, I had Clemson going deep, so I can't brag, but I didn't have them in the Final Four. But that brought a little joy. So I raised a glass last night to the fact that LT has already lost a Final Four team, and we were not through half of the day yesterday. So Forster passing that great news along to me was one of the better parts of NCAA Tournament 2025 so far for me, because this bracket challenge that we do every year takes on a life of its own, just of the nerves inside my body. I hate to lose it. Even though I look back at the payment last year, payoff as with some great fond memories.
Yep.
I don't want to do whatever y'all have decided we're going to do this year.
It's the spray tan. Spray tan. Okay. I know you didn't want it, but spray tan was the odds-on favorite by the audience.
Yeah. So I mean, other than jumping out of a plane and eating an oyster,
yep.
I don't know what else would have been worse. So here we are. We're ready. I don't know why I said eating an oyster. I like oysters.
Eating an oyster was a weird one. Like, that would be our bracket punishment.
Yeah, I'm delirious, though.
I can tell. Not much sleep out of Dunaway. You'll be watching Alabama play Robert Morris a little bit later on. We're going to lead you up to that game today. So we'll get you right up to Alabama Robert Morris tip here on the next round. But let's rewind to yesterday, and let's start with the Auburn Tigers, where Little T is in Lexington, and discuss what you saw there. This was a game that right before the half was a one-possession game. Now, Auburn pulled away at the end of the half to make it 10. It was never in question in the second half, Dunaway, but it wasn't the dominant performance that you often see out of the overall number one, who is playing a team that's already had to play a play-in game in Dayton and then travel to the site. It wasn't what Houston did to SIU Edwardsville. It wasn't what Duke might do today. It was not a great performance by Auburn's own admission. Not a great performance by them yesterday.
Yeah. We'll hear from them about that, and we'll talk about what Stephen Pearl said on the actual Auburn radio network coming up in a little bit too. But I would tell you, there is no alarm that would go off in my head about what I saw yesterday. That was a team that was disinterested and not fully dialed in that game. So, I mean, that could be alarming to you, or you could say, okay, they'll be dialed in for this Creighton game coming up. I was concerned about their ball movement early on. I thought the ball movement was poor early on. I thought they took way too many horrible shots early in that game when it was 32-31 and Alabama stayed at the free throw line to shoot. The shot selection was horrible in that game. At times the effort was horrible in that game until 32-31, and I think it dawned on them at that point after a foul that Alabama State had two free throws to take the lead at 33-32 approaching the half. knowing that the entire world that was watching the NCAA tournament was going to see that on the ticker. And with the late Greg Gumbel in mind, back in the old days, we would have been switching from, watching some other game to, let's go to Lexington, where Alabama State now leads number 1 seed Auburn. So they kicked in at that point. They went on a run to end the half. It ended up being a 26-7 run that they separated, and it was never close after that. So Barkley putting his feet on the desk, it was not going to be Yale 2.0.
It was not. And there's nobody, I think, watching that game that thought Alabama State was going to win that game. I mean, there was never a time where I thought, oh, gosh, Alabama State's. I mean, it never even crossed my mind.
Me either.
It's about playing, and we talk a lot about this in football, but it's true in basketball too. It's about playing to a standard, and I don't know that Auburn met that standard. Well, I know they didn't meet the standard for 40 minutes. Maybe there were times in that game where they met the standard that Bruce Pearl would have for this team, but they certainly didn't do it for 40 minutes. They were not close to meeting that standard for 40 minutes.
They were not. And I know people hate when we go football analogy to basketball. I can't remember the crap through a 10-horn Georgia Southern game. Was that a national championship season for Alabama? It feels like it was.
As Nick Saban pointed out in that soundbite, that team won a national championship and every defender on the field played in the NFL. So,
that's right.
Yeah.
So that team in a non-motivated day against Georgia Southern got run through like crap through a 10-horn. They won the game, and they went on to win a national championship. So I'm not making a comparison between Nick Saban and Bruce Pearl, but I'm just saying talent sometimes takes a break mentally. Yeah. And that's what happened yesterday to Auburn.
Yeah, I think when you're an extremely talented team, sometimes you can just rest on that talent, right? And that is what it felt like. Again, it didn't feel that way with Houston. Houston went out and dominated their opponent. So, I mean, that's just the difference in a team that was locked in and ready to go. I mean, you look at Clemson, and we'll get to that game later. For some reason, Jim, Clemson is a 5 seed, the number 2 team out of the ACC who went to the Elite 8 last year, just didn't show up locked in. I mean, you could tell it watching it. Everybody was talking about it. Brad Brownell said it. He was talking about it in the huddle. I think it was Steve Lapis was the analyst on that broadcast, was like, this team is going through the motions, and it makes no sense right now.
Yeah, and that doesn't make sense. And it happens in sports a lot, especially in the game of basketball. I would tell you that after watching Louisville and Clemson yesterday, I don't want to get way ahead of yourself, but if you're in this region that Alabama's in, I don't know what you think of Duke right now, because the ACC has laid an egg so far. And I know the SEC is losing teams left and right. Well, hell, they had 14 of them. They're going to lose teams. The teams that are losing, I think we're supposed to lose. But that ACC, if Clemson and Louisville were the other 2 really good teams in that league, I don't know what Duke is going to be. That Clemson team ended up not being that good. You get for some reason not 100% effort and focus, and then you end up playing a team that is what looked to be more motivated and close to equal talent. Then that's what you get is an upset there. I give them credit for fighting back. They could have laid down and taken a 20-point butt whipping there, but they made it close at the end. But you wonder, Brown. We talk about the old saying on the old Dunaway and Brown show was "franning it up,"
right?
And I wonder if Brownell's on his way to Indiana, well, wherever whatever opening opens up, is he going to be is he going to bounce around? Is he going to stay at Clemson? It looked to be like a entire organization that was dysfunction in that game yesterday.
He got a contract extension, so all of that got tied up before the game, but you do wonder how much it had impacted going into that game.
That's right.
Yeah, so that's a great point. All right, our Shannara showdown today, Dunaway, is Oklahoma-UConn. That is the late game. I'll get your thought on this in a moment, and we're going to get back to Auburn here, but I want to tell everyone about our friend Alexander Shannara. Oklahoma-UConn, you can play it right now at nextroundlive.com, nextroundlive.com. Play and win as much as $1,000 on a check card or a cash card there, an Amex card. We'll give that to you. Also going to pay 3 spots. So all you got to do is go to nextroundlive.com, go to the Shannara Showdown page, and pick that game against the point spread. We're going to play UConn a 5-point favorite in that one. UConn is a 5-point favorite over Oklahoma. It's brought to you by our guy, Alexander Shannara. Alexander Shannara Trial Attorneys, a national firm with southern roots right here in Birmingham, Alabama. Great employer in the city of Birmingham and in the state of Alabama. 24 years His firm has grown to more than 150 lawyers, supported by more than 500 dedicated team members, and they've recovered more than $2 billion. If you find yourself in need of a lawyer, call the Alexander Shannara Trial Attorneys. You pay nothing unless they win your case. The Shannara Showdown today is UConn and Oklahoma. The SEC is 4-3, Dunaway. This, on the surface, looks like a tough one for the SEC, with Oklahoma playing back-to-back defending national champions UConn.
If I was eligible to win the Shannara cash, I would take UConn in this one,
Okay.
I think.
All right, Dunaway on record, UConn.
Yeah, I have. It was on my board heavy as a fade Dunaway play, and then I pulled it off because I literally have fears of Oklahoma going off in this game. But I if I had to play it, and you have to in the Shannara Showdown, I think I would go UConn in this one just because of the coach.
Okay. All right, you're going to go in, and Danny Hurley's a really good coach, and Porter Moser is a good coach, but he's not at the level of Danny Hurley. So you go coaches in that one. Also, and we're going to hear from all the Auburn stuff in just a moment, but let me remind you before we do that, Woodhouse Day Spas, Birmingham.woodhousespas.com. That is Birmingham.woodhousespas.com. Look, guys, you want to sit around and watch the NCAA Tournament all weekend? Get a head start on keeping the lady in your life happy. Why don't you give her a trip to the Woodhouse Day Spa? It is a win-win. You watch basketball, she gets a great day at the Woodhouse Day Spas. Also, summer coming up, graduations coming up, things like that, birthdays, anniversaries with the summer coming here. Great idea is Woodhouse Spas. Birmingham.woodhousespas.com. You can book an appointment there, buy a gift card there as well at Birmingham.woodhousespas.com. All right, Tyler and Scott, if we can, let's just go in order here, guys, 1 through 5, and hear what everyone had to say about this Auburn win. We talked about Stephen Pearl, the associate head coach for the Auburn Tigers. Because it is an NCAA tournament event, Bruce Pearl goes straight to the podium. Stephen Pearl then, or another assistant, does the post-game interview. In this case, it was Stephen Pearl. And here is what the associate Auburn head coach had to say about that Auburn win, but not to a standard.
Congratulations on the win. Almost a workmanlike ball game here as you win by 20 over Alabama State, Coach.
Yeah, I mean, that's about the only positive is that we won the game. That's about it.
All right, give me your thoughts then.
Yeah, I mean, it was embarrassing, honestly. To come out in an NCAA tournament game with that energy and that effort, like that's why we lost last year. We got to be so much freaking better than what we are right now. If I'm Creighton, I'm licking my chops right now. I'm really excited that they're playing us. I mean, if I'm a Creighton coach, we got a lot of stuff we got to figure out in the next 24, 36 hours if we're going to actually come out there and beat a really good team. Not good enough. Really poor.
Wow. I mean, just Dunaway, incredibly honest right there out of the Auburn associate head coach. I mean, that is, you rarely hear a head coach be that honest about a team after a 20-point win in the NCAA tournament. I mean, it was brutal honesty is what it was.
It was. But oftentimes in the media, you can sometimes use it as a motivation to your guys to almost try to embarrass them a little bit, to motivate them to get dialed in. I would imagine that was the same tone in the locker room when they got in there. It'll be the same tone at their closed practice inside Rupp Arena today. They probably as well did a walkthrough last night because it was a day game and they play early again on Saturday, or they'll do 2 practices today. It will be intense. What the heck are you doing? Do you want this magical season to end kind of thing? And it's surprising that it was that on the Auburn network. Not surprising that that's how the coaches felt, because you could watch the frustration. I mean, just think of the things you saw in that game, Brownie. You saw, I think it was Todd Pettiford do a no-look pass to Bruce Pearl in the game. Now, I think the official being over there, corner of his eyes, and Bruce, he thought one of them was his player. But that's, you're not mentally dialed in at that point.
No, absolutely not.
And I know Janai ended up with 14 and 11, but and he's so great that was the quietest 14 and 11 I'd ever seen. There were so many. Chad Baker-Mazzara had 5. You're looking at your leaders, and you're saying this team that we're playing is 45 minutes down the road. This is the team we usually open up the season with in November. And all due respect to Alabama State, who had a great season, Auburn's supposed to go out there and it almost be like a scrimmage, just empty the bench on them. And it took a while to get to that point, and that would make me really angry if I was a coach too.
Stephen Pearl was not finished. He had some choice
What?
words. Yeah, I know he was not finished. That was the first question or the first answer to Andy Burcham and the crew there on the Auburn Sports Network. And it continued. Here are his thoughts on two of Auburn's star players and their performance in the win over Alabama State.
Janai and Chad have to be better. They have to be better in all aspects of the game. And if they're not, we will not win. So, I would imagine that coach is going to challenge them pretty hard right now because they just didn't bring it tonight. And I have no idea why. No idea. But, I thought the rest of the guys competed pretty well. Overall, I thought, the rest of them I thought were excited to be here. But when our two best players play like that, our chances of beating a really good team are going to go down. So we got to find ways as a staff to get more out of them.
Again, brutal honesty. And you said it yourself. I mean, that's a quiet game from Janai Broome. And, the Alabama State big guy in the first half kind of had his way with Broome. I mean, he pushed him around and Broome picked up foul on. I mean, it did look like Janai Broome was going through the motions, which is baffling to me.
Yeah, because there's only potential for 6 of these. And as Taylor Corn and I talked on the basketball show all year about, a kid like Broome playing through an injury or something like that, you think to yourself, well, he wants to play because he's only got 12 more of these games left, 11 more of these games left. Well, it was down yesterday going into that game to only 6 of these games left. Now there's only 5 left. How would you not, in your final 5 games in an Auburn uniform, not go out and play your butt off? So I don't understand it, but I've never been at that elite level, so I can't comment on what goes through a guy's mind. But I do know this. It was a great opportunity for Andy to drop a sponsorship in there. Let's check out the Yellow Hammer or the Yellowwood hammer of the day. Who are we going to nail today, Stephen Pearl? You can work a sponsor in there because that was brutal honesty. But again, he's not talking behind anybody's back. It's absolutely what he told them.
There's no doubt. I'm sure Bruce Pearl had said it in the locker room when he got his chance to go in there and tell it to his team, the same exact message. So does it resonate with the players? Dylan Cardwell, the Auburn player that got selected to go do the radio interview on the Auburn Sports Network. Here is what one of Auburn's team leaders had to say about his team's performance in the 20-point win in round 1.
We just got to be better. We got to play on fire. We got to play pissed off. And it's just frustrating to see that we're not playing pissed off. We're not playing pissed off. And we play what we did today, we're going to get beat. When we're playing hard, when we're not slopping through stuff, when we're playing engine, we're playing in the stance, no one can beat us. But it's just frustrating. Like I said, it's just frustrating to just see that we lost, through the last 4. We lost to Alabama. We lost to Texas A&M. We lost to Tennessee because we weren't playing hard. And we come out here and we start pissing away the opportunity. We got to stop doing that. We can't afford that because you have the option to go out as the best team in Auburn history or the biggest bust in the country. And, I don't know what these guys want to be remembered for, but at some point it's got to click. At some point it's got to click. What more is it going to take? What more is it going to take? I don't want to look back when I'm 40, when I'm 50, when I'm 60, and be like, dang, I wish I got past the first weekend. I wish I played in the Final Four. We're a great team. We're one of the greatest teams in the country. That's why we're number 1 overall seed. We're not playing the number 1 overall seed anymore. We're not playing like that anymore. And I don't know what more it's going to take for us to get there. We have all the kumbayas. We all have the prayer meetings. We have all these things. But what's it going to take for somebody to buy in?
Good grief!
Wow.
I mean, it's just it's amazing.
We went prayer meetings.
I know,
we have prayer meetings.
Kumbaya and prayer meetings.
I mean, prayer meeting. I had not heard that one yet. Prayer meetings.
Yeah. What's it going to take for somebody to buy in, though? I mean, look, the Creighton game's a tough game for Auburn. They're an 8.5-point favorite right now. And I'm just baffled that this is the type of talk you're having to have in the NCAA tournament for a team that has played this well all year. And you can tell, Jim, they are well aware in that locker room of Auburn's recent NCAA tournament record. They know that this is a team that has struggled to get out of the first weekend of the tournament.
Yes, you heard him say, I don't want to be, 40, 50 years old, which, by the way, is not that old.
I agree.
to look back and say, I wish we'd gotten out of the first weekend of the NCAA tournament. So that is an amazing comment there. More of our coverage of the NCAA tournament before we end our opening segment here. I want to tell you about our friends at Storm Restoration Roofing. That's Greg from Pell City. He'll get on your roof for absolutely free, no obligation roof inspection. You do that by calling the number that'll pop up on your screen here, or you can look up Greg from Pell City right there on Facebook as well. What does Greg give for you? Storm Restoration Roofing. We tell you about that all the time. We tell you that he gives you that free no-cost roof inspection, but he's got a building license. He can help you rebuild after a storm or maybe change something on your roof. He can help with storm damage repairs and roof replacement. He does it all from A to Z, and he does it with a smile on his face and with a great, unbelievable commitment to honesty and customer service. You can't beat that, and that's what you get from Storm Restoration Roofing, locally owned for over 20 years, family owned, A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau. Check him out on Facebook. It is Greg from Pell City and Storm Restoration Roofing.
Sorry about that, Jim. Also, our friends at Johnston RV Center, I-65, exit 304 in Coleman, 334 in Decatur. You want to go see America? Go see America in an RV from Johnston RV Center. They've got something in just about any price range, as low as $129 a month with approved credit. You can find everything from fifth wheels to tow behinds, little toy haulers. Also, the motor homes, they're all right there, and they make sure you're covered with that lifetime warranty from RV Warranty Forever. And that covers anything that is new or qualifying pre-owned at Johnston RV Center. You can always see more online, johnstonrvcenter.com. That is johnstonrvcenter.com. In the mybookie.ag chat room, Chris says, it's going fast. Give me a second to scroll back. Our last 4 games were 52-86 from the stripe. That's horrible. Yesterday, in Auburn's win, in a 20-point win, this is not going to get you beat, but they're 18 of 32 from the stripe. Against Creighton, you're probably not going to shoot 32 free throws, but if you're 18 of 32 against Creighton, you'll lose the basketball game in all likelihood.
Yes. And again, I think free throws is a concentration game. That's a really good free throw shooting team. Chad Baker-Mazar is one of the best in the history of the SEC. He missed at least one yesterday. I think all the guards missed a free throw yesterday. You don't expect them from Dylan and Janai. They struggle sometimes at the free throw line, but those guards are usually money, and it goes back to the things that has pissed off the coaching staff. And so it's just another thing of you guys were not focused because Little T reported that they spent a lot of time in their shoot around inside Rupp Arena shooting free throws to get used to the backdrop. You'd already played there once. Miles Kelly hit 5 threes. How can you not hit more free throws? Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So that's another one of those mind-boggling, not dialed-in things. And I'm interested in the chat room. Are Auburn fans concerned about this, or are we overplaying this a little bit? It's a 20-point win against a 16 seed, and I've seen it my whole life. I remember hating the number 1 seeds, whether it was Duke or North Carolina or whomever, Michigan State. And I would watch, in that first game, and 16 would be hanging close with them, and I'd be like, come on, this would be awesome. This would be awesome. And then they'd win by 20, and then it would not impact them in the NCAA tournament at all. And I really think that's where we're headed with this. Creighton is an upgrade in talent, but I saw Creighton get, schooled by Alabama earlier this year. It is obviously a game Auburn should handle, and I think they opened at a 9.5-point favorite, something like that, a big number.
Yeah, I think it's 8.5 now, 8.5 against Creighton. Yeah. But that Creighton team yesterday, I know you were over at the shoot-around while they were playing Louisville. That was never a game, Jim, and it was basically a road game for Creighton. Good Louisville crowd there. Never a game. They dominated Louisville from the tip, and that Creighton team, there was so much talk, and you could almost see this coming because of how much talk there was about Louisville being underseeded in this situation, having to play in an 8-9 game. You and me and Lance said we think maybe the AP got it more wrong than the committee got it wrong. The committee was right. They might have underseeded Creighton, though. Based on yesterday, Creighton looked a lot better than a 9 seed.
Yeah, I would tell you this, though, if you're an Auburn fan, here is absolutely one thing to take to the bank. Creighton, I think, plays 6 players, so they don't have the depth. They've got a great, they got a great shooter who came from Arizona State who had a great game yesterday, but they only play 6 players. Kalkbrenner, believe people were disagreeing with me in the post game yesterday on the basketball show, brought to you by our friends at Culver's. But I think Janai Broome will have a field day against Kalkbrenner just because of his speed, and he'll be a little undersized against Kalkbrenner, but Kalkbrenner is a good defender, not a great defender. I just think this is a great matchup. And the number one reason why I think it's a great matchup for Auburn is that you saw how Creighton relied on the three-point shot in that contest. That's part of their arsenal. They love the three-point shot, and they're usually against a lot of teams able to get the three-point shot because of the size of Kalkbrenner on the inside. But Auburn's three-point line defense is one of the, if not the best in the country, and I think that will match up perfectly against Creighton.
You don't like Kalkbrenner. There are those that think Kalkbrenner can give Broome issues. I don't. You do not think that, but there are those that do. You do not.
Yep. Yeah. The only thing, and we saw it a little bit yesterday. The only thing that could happen, and this happens anytime you have a guy that plays down low in the NCAA tournament. Oftentimes upsets happen when that guy gets into foul trouble.
Right.
So you could get a different officiating crew than you're used to having, who could get you tagged with a couple of fouls early on, and you spend more time on the bench than you spend in the game. And that's how Auburn could lose the game, is if Janai Broome gets caught with a couple early and then he spends more time in and out of a game than actually into the game, and he never gets into a flow. But if he stays out of foul trouble, I think Broome is in the 24-11 range in this game on Saturday.
All right, Jim and Taylor's coverage in Cleveland and Lexington, presented by a couple of great sponsors. First of all, our friends at Culver's. Don't forget, right now, they've got that deluxe, fresh, never frozen ground beef on a butter bun with lettuce, tomato, onion, pickle, and American cheese, cooked to order for you at your local Culver's. For dessert, why don't you create your own concrete mixer? Choose from Culver's many toppings, have them added to your custard, and blend it together for that concrete mixer. Go enjoy a great Culver's near you, especially one of the great Culver's in the Birmingham area. And also the NCAA Women's Basketball Tournament coming to Birmingham. Experience March Madness live at Legacy Arena, March 28th through 31st. 8 teams fighting for 2 spots in the 2025 Women's Final Four in Tampa. Get your tickets now. NCAA.com/WBB tickets. Be part of the madness. That's NCAA.com/WBB tickets. All right, that's a lot on Auburn for a 116 game. I never thought we'd have that much coming out of it, but there was a lot that came out of that. We'll turn the page and look at everything else that happened yesterday in the NCAA tournament. And Jim is in the building where Alabama will play later today. We'll talk about day 2 of the NCAA tournament, including Alabama and Robert Morris. That is all next on the next round, presented by Bud Light. We are live in Cleveland in the Birmingham Racecourse Casino Studios.
Take the next round anywhere you go with official Next Round gear. Buy yours today at nextround.store.
I'm attorney Alexander Shinar, Alabama born, Alabama raised, and ready to fight for your rights. I have one of the largest firms in Alabama, and we are here to help you get the compensation you deserve. Call me, Alabama, 323-1000.
Your representation is made that the quality of legal services being performed is greater than those of other lawyers.
Looking to expand your business? Let the Next Round help you. Contact us, sales@nextroundlive.com, and be part of the team. Advertise your product to hundreds of thousands of potential customers on our ever-expanding platforms. The Next Round can take your business to the next level. Join our existing partners in the fastest-growing media space, both live and on demand, while reaching the most desirable audience for your business. Get more information by emailing sales@nextroundlive.com, and one of our team members will work with you to build a plan to take your business to the next level using the Next Round.
Hey, for all of your IT and printing needs, reach out to our friends at Xerox Business Solutions. Look, I'm still one of those old school guys. I print my notes every single day for the show. If you watch the show here on the Next Round, you see all the notes in front of me. From day one, Xerox Business Solutions, they've been with us here at the Next Round. Local for over 45 years. For all of your IT and printing needs, visit XeroxBusinessSolutions.com or call 205-969-3000. That's 205-969-3000. What a great time of year to be online with our friends at MyBookie.ag, MyBookie.ag, where right now you get a major current sign-up bonus, a 50% deposit bonus up to $1,000, plus a $10 casino chip when using the code NEXTROUND. That's code NEXTROUND. We're talking about all the madness of March, the NBA playoff race, the start of Major League Baseball, and it's all for you right now online when using the code NEXTROUND. Go sign up today, MyBookie.ag, code NEXTROUND.
Hey, Lance Taylor from the Next Round to tell you about one of our favorite places for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. That is Hamburger Heaven since 1982. Hamburger Heaven has been serving Birmingham's best hamburgers, cheeseburgers, French fries, hand-spun milkshakes, and sandwiches made fresh to order. All of their ingredients are fresh and prepared daily. This includes their beef, always fresh, never frozen, hand-pattied each and every day. For breakfast, lunch, or dinner, visit any of the 4 locations, Highway 280, Irondale, Gardendale, and Homewood.
As we all know, there's no off-season when it comes to college football. If you want to stay in the know with all things Alabama, join us over on covercrimson.com and get $25 off your annual subscription. We'll keep you up to date and give you exclusive content all the way to the first Saturday of football season on covercrimson.com.
It's bow time. Tired of choosing between sweet and savory? Why not have both? Introducing Bojangles' new Chicken and Bowberry Waffles. The bold Cajun chicken filet you love, now drizzled with a Bowberry honey glaze and sandwiched between 2 warm waffles. Which means your favorite meal of the day just met your new favorite dish. And lucky for you, it's served all day. But it's only here for a limited time, so try Chicken and Bowberry Waffles at Bojangles today. It's bow time.
You could win a Cadillac CT5 or your share of $25,000 in free play and cash at Birmingham Racecourse Casino. The more you visit, the more chances you have to win. Play the latest, most exciting games around with fun bonuses and big jackpots. You can be a winner too. Come win your share during the Cadillac CT5 and $25,000 giveaway at Birmingham Racecourse Casino. Drawings April 5th and 6th. Located off I-459, exit 31, Derby Parkway. Must be 21 or older. Must be present to win.
All right, Auburn fans, I want you to become a member of thebarnauburn.com and join in on the fun. Whether it's recruiting discussions, off-season chatter, or the latest Auburn athletics news, we've got it all. Get $25 off your annual subscription when you sign up for your account at thebarnauburn.com today. War Eagle.
I'm attorney Alexander Shinar, Alabama born, Alabama raised, and ready to fight for your rights. I have one of the largest firms in Alabama, and we are here to help you get the compensation you deserve. Call me, Alabama, 323-1000.
Your representation is made that the quality of legal services being performed is greater than those of other lawyers.
All right, we continue on the next round. Dunaway is up in Cleveland for Alabama and Robert Morris. We are going to get to that in this segment. We are also going to look back at day number 1 in the NCAA tournament. One of the bad things, I know NCAA tournaments are fun, Jim, but doing what you're doing there, sometimes it's hard to actually watch the action. So I know probably the late games, you got to see a ton of those, but did not get to see a ton of the early action. But let's stay in Auburn's part of the bracket. We've already talked about Auburn facing Creighton. Texas A&M beat Yale 4-13. Yale won that game last year against Auburn. You've heard some references to that already in the show from Auburn's coaches and players. 80-71, A&M advances. They will get Michigan, who survived is the best way of putting it last night. UC San Diego had a shot to force overtime. They missed. Michigan gets the rebound win 68-65. A&M is that team Auburn fans don't really want to see hanging around in that bracket right there.
And I'm just the opposite if I'm an Auburn fan this morning. I would rather see Texas A&M again because I don't think it would play out the same way. And you've had a free look at them on their floor after you were hungover after clinching the SEC championship. I think Michigan could be a dangerous game for them just because of the ability of Trey Donaldson to have an unbelievable payback type game. The two bigs, including I think it's Golden on the inside, their big guy who was at Florida Atlantic. I think he has the physical makeup to be more of a problem for Janai Broome than Kalkbrenner would be. I think another shot, the much talked about problem with Buzz Williams. I just don't think it would happen 2 times in 1 year. I would rather have that game if I was Auburn. But either way, that's down the road. For Michigan, sloppy game by them, but I thought UC San Diego really fought hard to get back in that one. And for Texas A&M, that Yale team was playing good basketball, and they've got a skill set that can cause some problems when you play like the Aggies do. I was a little surprised that the Aggies defense let them score 71 points. I thought that game would play something like 69, 62, something like that, not what it ended up playing.
So all night games in the West bracket. Missouri got upset by Drake 67-57.
Never close.
It really wasn't. Drake dominated that game. And one of our friends, Skip Welburn, an assistant for Bucky McMillan over at Samford, I ran into him the other day, and I said, hey, give me a you know I always suck at this bracket challenge. Give me a team I can grab that nobody else will pay attention to. He goes, have you watched Drake any? I said, no. He goes, I've seen them on film some. He said, really good defensive team. Their ball movement is elite, gets them a lot of open shots. And if you believe in these teams that have played together for 4 and 5 years now, this is one of those teams because it's like a poor man's Butler back in the day. So I bought all in. On Skip's recommendation, I bought all in. And he's texted me last night. He's like, did I tell you right or did I tell you right? Everything he said about them was what Missouri saw last night.
Yeah, but how far do you have Drake going?
Oh, I got him losing to the next game. But I at least got one upset.
Me too. I can't remember if I got him winning one more, but I don't have him going like to the final four.
I've got him losing to Texas Tech. I had Texas Tech too, so I got him losing to Texas Tech.
I think I'm the same with you there, but I did have them beating Missouri. That was no surprise to me. Missouri was this year's South Carolina. They were a team that, had a great turnaround like South Carolina did last year, but I had zero faith of them winning against a physical team in the NCAA tournament. So that one didn't surprise me at all. Drake's a good basketball team, and you get Bennett Sturts who can hit great 3-pointers. That one-legged 3-pointer was an amazing shot last night. But they could win another one. They won't go too far in this one, but it was another loss by the SEC, and I haven't seen it be a major talking point yet. But what did you think of the SEC day one?
4-2 yesterday. I mean, they're 4-3 overall because you got to count Texas. But 4-2 yesterday.
Right.
Well, let's get to the. I was going to talk about Texas Tech. They beat UNC Wilmington. We don't have to discuss a ton of that 82-72. But let's get to what I thought was the best game of the day was Arkansas and Kansas. I mean, that was one of the SEC's wins. A 10 beating a 7. Arkansas wins that one 79-72. It was a 4-2 SEC day. You obviously had Georgia getting run out of the gym. That was never a game against Gonzaga. Gonzaga beat them the way Georgia football beats people. And you had what we've already referenced in the Missouri loss. Other than that, I mean, I thought Arkansas, that's a good win, 79-72. I thought Boogie Flan, I love it. Boogie Flan came back. I'll pull up his box score because Calipari before the game says we're going to have him on a little bit of a pitch count. We're going to limit his minutes. Boogie might play 10, 12 minutes for us. And Boogie Fan played 24 minutes and only scored 6 points, but 24 minutes when they said 10 or 12.
Yeah, he almost had as many timeouts at the end of the game trying to inbound the pass as he did points in the contest.
Boy, that was scary.
3 chances to get it in, and he finally was able to get that thing in. I was not surprised by that game. That Kansas team has sort of been put together.
Yeah, they're blah. They're blah. They just don't have an identity.
In a weird way, like including Rylan Griffin, who ended up
making a mistake.
Yeah, they should have never left the Alabama program. And I'd ask people, was he forced out? Was he told we're gonna have to replace you? And they were like, nope. He made that choice a long time ago to go to Kansas and has regretted it ever since he got there.
Now, he would
Wouldn't
not
it be ironic?
He would not. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. He wouldn't be starting at Alabama, though, to be clear.
But
he would be getting the same type of playing time at Alabama that he's getting at Kansas, but he'd be on a 2 seed, not on a team that's back to class today.
Yeah, and it'll be interesting to see if he is somewhere else next year. I don't know if there would be a path for him back to Tuscaloosa or not, but if there is a place for him, because I think he has at least one more, if not 2 more years left. But every time I watch Kansas play, his time on the court seemed like it was always 2 minutes, and then they would be checking him back out again. But anyway, that team was a dysfunction all year. It was like they had 8 parts, 7 parts that didn't fit together. Like you were missing 2 pieces of the puzzle. You can never get the corner and the edges right. And that was not a good Kansas team. But for Arkansas, to get that win and Calipari versus Self, and now you get Calipari versus Pitino, I'm all in on that. And to get Boogie Flan back just to play a little bit. They were a horrible team when he was there earlier this year. He went out, and that's when Arkansas turned it around. That'll be must-see TV coming up on Saturday. That's one of the ones I have circled. I can't wait to see.
Tyler, let's hear cut 9, if you will, please. Jim mentioned it. So coming up 1:40 Saturday on CBS, St. John's is a 6.5 point favorite over the Arkansas Razorbacks. And you're going to feature Rick Pitino and John Calipari playing one another. Scott showing you that famous photo that's floating around of the two of them hanging what looks like 70 years ago, how young they look. Here is Rick Pitino last night getting asked about facing John Calipari.
Is that a chess match you enjoy, the planning to go against each other, given how many times it's happened?
I don't go against coaches. We go against teams. He doesn't have to worry about me. My jump shot's long gone. So he's got to prepare for our team. We've got to prepare for his players. He's preparing for our players. So John and I don't play one-on-one anymore.
John and I don't play one-on-one anymore. It is still a fascinating coaching matchup. It was going to be either way, whichever it was, Bill Self versus Pitino or Calipari versus Pitino. But it's got a little more old school feel going back to kind of the Northeast, going back to Louisville playing Kentucky when Pitino and Cal were there. It's just got that's going to be it's going to be a fun game. I mean, whoever the coaches are, that's going to be a fun matchup.
Absolutely, it will be fun, and don't be surprised if Arkansas pulls the upset here because of the physicality of a couple of the Arkansas players, and if Big Z could have a game. If he could have a game like I think he had a great game against Alabama, even though Alabama won the contest. You could have a game like that from Big Z, then that could be. Yeah, and now Big Z can give you what he gave at Neville Arena too, which was an offer. But if you get a great Big Z game, that Arkansas team is built physically to pull the upset here. That one wouldn't surprise me on Saturday. I'm going to look at that on my Shannara. I don't know if it'll be my Shannara showdown or if it'll be a part of my Fade Dunaway list of the day. But I'm going to watch that one. I think Arkansas has a fighting chance in that one. And see, that's where you change the conversation about the SEC. Now you got a 10 that has made it to the Sweet 16 and knocked off St. John's, and then we'll start stacking some credits for the Southeastern Conference there.
Elsewhere, we'll just touch on these real quick. Tennessee beat Wofford 77-62, doing what a 2-seed should do in that game. It was never really a contest. Late night, UCLA ran Utah State off the floor and extended one of the strangest stats that I have found in NCAA tournaments. There are now 16 times where a 10 and 7 have played when the 10 has the better record than the 7. Utah State had the better record of these two teams. The 10 with a better record is now 1-15 straight up in those guys. That's not against the spread, Jim. That is 1-15 straight up. That record makes no sense. But if you're a 10 seed with a better record, you are not winning the game. There's another one of those games tonight, by the way. But the 10 seed with a better record is terrible in those situations.
Yeah, and I'll be honest. This is where my integrity comes into play.
Wow. Okay.
I'm just saying that I could have. When you mentioned that stat yesterday on my portion of the show,
sure,
I had time to go change, and take Utah State off, and I did not do that. I don't remember, but I think I picked Utah State, and I think that's one of my 4 losses yesterday. I think I had Utah State winning that, but when you dropped that stat in my head, I thought, I think I have Utah State in our bracket challenge, but I did not go change it. Because that was an eye-opening stat. Because you're not talking point spread.
No, this is straight up. Yes,
this straight up wins.
Yeah, this is game record, and that one last night was never in doubt. UCLA dominated that game from before the tip.
Yeah, and I don't know what I saw in Utah State where I thought. I'll be honest. It was somewhere in January. I watched Utah State play, and I was like, "That's one of those teams I'm going to pick.
Yeah,
I'm going to pick in the first round," and I never let it get out of my head. I think Grand Canyon was another one of those teams I did. Is that the other one today? I don't know.
No, it's Marquette and New Mexico. New Mexico, the 10 seed's 26-7. Marquette's 23-10. Marquette a 3.5 point favorite.
Guess who I have?
I'm sure you've got Marquette. I think I do too, though. Actually,
I've got New Mexico.
New Mexico. Excuse me. No, I've got New Mexico as well. To talk integrity, well, I could have still changed it. I discovered that stat after I had picked New Mexico. That was one of those where Marquette, New Mexico, it's a toss-up. I'm just going to go New Mexico here, take a 10 over a 7. 10s do well against 7s. What I did not know is there's an addendum to 10s do well against 7s.
Yeah, and that's I'm on New Mexico today too, so that could be another L for me because I again, back in January, I think I watched New Mexico play, and I'm like,
of course,
gonna remember New
That's
Mexico.
it, yeah.
Gonna remember New Mexico. I like the way they look. I'm gonna take them. I don't care who they play.
We'll talk some Alabama now. Let's talk Alabama. We'll hear from Aiden Holloway, cut number 6, coming up in a moment. Tyler, first, I want to remind everyone about Odie's Tavern. A great place to watch the games today, either at the Edgewood location there in Homewood, the brand new one, or over in Mountain Brook, the OG Odie's Tavern. Go get one of those big cup cocktails, Rodney's cheeseburger, the Diablo sandwich that we absolutely love there at Odie's. Great place to watch all the March Madness action is right there at Odie's Tavern. Don't forget, every single Wednesday night, backup crew this Wednesday because of spring break. All of us, me, Will, and Lance are all out of town for spring break. But backup crew doing Odie's Team Trivia Wednesday night, 8 o'clock at the Mountain Brook location. Our friends at Odie's Tavern. All right, Dunaway is standing right inside Rocket Arena in Cleveland, where he will a little bit later on watch Alabama Robert Morris. You were at the shoot-around yesterday. You were in the locker room yesterday. First of all, you talked to Grant Nelson. We played it on the show. You saw Grant Nelson moving around in the shoot-around. You talked to Brian Passing about Grant Nelson, which we'll hear a little bit later on, as Scott shows us some Grant Nelson that you shot there courtside. What was your opinion?
I thought he moved around really well. I was not at the closed practice over at the Cavaliers facility at the Cleveland Clinic, I think it's about 8 miles from the arena here. I didn't get to go to that. It was closed. That's where they did their real practice. When they got here to the arena, it was strictly just putting balls on rims, just shooting. His shot looked the same as it always does. There's no driving. There's no side to side. So I didn't see any of that, but just him shooting, him using his lift off of that leg, off of that knee. He looked like, if needed, he could play today. Interesting comments. So from Robert Morris's players, when they were asked about them resting Grant Nelson not being available, and they, as you should, as a competitor, they took offense to, oh yeah, they're probably going to rest Grant Nelson, saying it like, oh, you're going to rest against us. So it'll be interesting to see in warmups how he does in the layup line, which we didn't get yesterday. How he does, moving up a little side to side in warmups. We'll know pretty early. So make sure at Next Round Live on social media, we'll try to get some video of him running out into the court or something to give you a little feel of whether or not he's going to be able to go today. But I think he could play. I think he will be an all-go on Sunday.
So
I really do.
Yeah, you mentioned it. Robert Morris talking about the potential of looking past Alabama, looking past them. You're in the locker room yesterday. Here is what Jim discussed with Alabama guard Aiden Holloway about that same topic, except from Alabama's perspective, not looking past a team just because the number next to them is 15 and the number next to you is a 2 seed. Here's Alabama's Aiden Holloway on that.
Is it hard not to look ahead to like a next round game, especially in a 2-15 matchup?
I would say it just being humans, it kind of is a little difficult to not look at the championship and what we're gonna get if we win this, what we're gonna get if we win that. But I would just say the more mature approach and just mindset would just be to focus on really one play at a time, not even one game, just one play at a time, just making the best play, every single play that you can, that you're out there. So.
We got honesty from Aiden, then we got right back into coach speak, one play at a time. It's like maybe I'm being a little too honest. Yeah, it's hard not to look past a team and look what's ahead, but it's one play at a time. Let me get back into coach speak there for a second. The natural thing to do is to look at we're a 2, they're a 15. They don't belong on the same floor as us. You start going through motions like that in the NCAA tournament, you get upset. I think, again, I'll reference it again. I think Clemson, for whatever reason, looked like they did that with McNeese yesterday, and the McNeese team way, way, way better than Robert Morris. I have no idea why Clemson would have done that. You got to avoid it if you're Alabama today.
You do, and I think there's an opportunity to just set the tone. We talked in the first segment about how upset the Auburn coaches were with the standard that Auburn played with. I think today's a great opportunity for Alabama to play with a standard in this game that they're supposed to win. They're heavily favored. I didn't know this, because I'm bad at maps. Robert Morris, which is outside of Philadelphia, is basically from Cleveland. I think I'm told. Somebody told me it's less than 2 hours away from where we are. I find that hard to believe in my map, but you tell me where Robert Morris is, somebody maybe later in the show, I'm told it's like Birmingham to Auburn, and that they will have a great crowd here today for this contest. And so they will be cheering for Robert Morris. Not that would matter, but it's I would say that you got to be focused. You want this to look absolutely like you're the 2 seed, and you want to come out and send the rest of the country a message that, hey, we're a team you're going to have to beat. We're not going to beat ourselves.
Also, I think, and maybe change of venue, maybe change of calendar helps this. Change of venue didn't help it last week. You really want to see Mark Sears get cooking here. This is a guy that has struggled from the outside. He's struggled to score. You would like to see Mark Sears kind of find his shot here heading into the NCAA tournament. If he had 3 or 4 threes today, I think as an Alabama fan, if let's say Mark Sears is 4 of 7 from beyond the arc, 5 of 8, you'll be like, okay, that feels a lot more like Mark Sears.
Yeah, you want to see Mark Sears get his shot back. You want to see LeBaron Philon play like he played
against Kentucky. Yeah, and against Kentucky. He was terrific against Kentucky. Yeah.
You don't want him to go out and have 0 points like he did in the loss to Florida at the SEC tournament deep into the second half. We just got an update from, if you're a Yay Alabama member, part of their NIL initiative, they have access to some breaking news all the time. If you want to be a member at Yay Alabama and give back to the students, if you're a Yay Alabama member, you just got this text. Grant Nelson will be available for today's NCAA tournament game, that from Yay Alabama. So as we reported yesterday and today, Yay Alabama is reporting that now to their members with some insider information there. So at least backing up our reporting there is that Grant Nelson is available today. We'll see if he plays.
Is available. I don't know. I would not think that means starts, obviously.
Right.
So, is available would probably, again, Boogie Fland is available last night, and we're going to keep him, and he's going to play 10, 12 minutes. He played 24 for Arkansas. Yeah. Now, they needed Boogie Fland to win that game. I know he just scored 6, but they needed all hands on deck to beat Kansas. Alabama's going to, you would think, be in a different situation against Robert Morris. So that's an interesting update there. I think yesterday Alabama said he was going to be day-to-day. They were listing him as day-to-day. And there is no injury report, which I think if there were an injury report, you'd probably have him as questionable, maybe probable. I don't know which one you'd have.
Yeah. I'd go probable today. Okay. If you're an Alabama fan, you can also remember great Alabama moments with our friends at New Life Art. New Life Art, that's where you find the works of Daniel A. Moore, DanielMooreArt.com, DanielMooreArt.com. That includes the legend, Nick Saban's tribute from Daniel A. Moore, 6 national championships there. That and all the great works from years gone by from Daniel A. Moore. It's all right there with our friends at New Life Art. That's DanielMooreArt.com. DanielMooreArt.com. Browning?
All right, let's look at some point spreads. MyBookie.ag today. Have you got your 5-team parlay, 5-team NCAA tournament parlay in?
I do. I was 4-2 yesterday, by the way. So if you were fading Dunaway, you were what we like to call a loser yesterday.
Drop that L.
Yep. So here's my fade Dunaways today. You see if these back up with the lines. These were last night when I played them in Vegas. Again, this is hard-earned Jim Dunaway cash being played on these with our friends at MyBookie. I like Mississippi State today, -1.5.
That is right. Mississippi State, a 1.5-point favorite. First game out of the chute as they take on the Baylor Bears.
Yep, it'll be a tough game.
Yep.
Down to the wire, but I'll take State winning at 1.5. I'm going Chris Jans first round games here. I just think Chris Jans is a really good coach, and I like his defense in this one today. I like Saint Mary's -4.5 to advance to play Alabama here in Cleveland. So I like St. Mary's -4.5.
Yeah, the Gaels are a -4.5-point favorite over the Vanderbilt Commodores. The total in that game is maybe the lowest of the day, 136.5. They slow it down.
Yeah, Brown, that's why, you remember, even before, it was 2 weeks before the bracket was released, I said the one team I don't want on Alabama's bracket is St. Mary's.
Yep.
And St. Mary's is there and would be the likely opponent for Alabama. And I think if you're an Alabama fan, you would love to see the Vandy upset in that one. St. Mary's milks the clock. They play great defense, hence the low point total on the board there today. It would be contrasting styles against Alabama. They would play it a little bit like a little bit like Tennessee likes to play sometimes.
Yeah. By the way, that's the lowest point total. Vandy and St. Mary's 136.5. The highest is Alabama, to your point there, of 166, the point total for Alabama and Robert Morris.
Do you know what I've realized is that the more I've paid attention to basketball this year, I've become a lot smarter in basketball. It's been amazing.
Well,
that if you study, you do well in class.
We'll talk about this about Fuhrman, and then I'll bring it back up. I'll tell you what Fuhrman says when you rejoin us from Cleveland.
Yeah.
But there is a school of thought that actually it's not contrasting styles when you've got a lower seeded team against a higher seeded team. It's similar styles that are the bigger upsets. You understand what I'm saying?
I do, yeah.
So in other words, it's not a team that slows it down versus a team that goes fast. It's actually a 2 seed that slows it down versus a 7 seed that slows it down. They're playing the same style, or a 2 seed that goes fast versus a 7 seed that goes fast. I don't know. There's a school of thought in that too. All right, what else you got?
I've got Ole Miss. So one I'm most nervous about, Ole Miss getting 1.5. They're a better seed, and they're getting points that would tell you, if Lance was here, that's an easy winner for the team coming out of North Carolina, coming out of the play-in games. But I'm going to ride with the Rebels. I'm going to bet on Chris Beard doing something defensively in this one.
All right, yeah, they are a 1.5 dog. All right.
Yeah, I like Grand Canyon plus 10.5. I like that underdog there. I think they have a legit NBA star on that, and I think they could move on in this tournament. And as I said earlier, I like New Mexico against your odds at plus 3.5. So those are my 5 plays today.
You could play all those like Jim did at mybookie.ag. See all the games there at mybookie.ag. Code next round. He did not play Alabama, but Alabama's a 21.5 point favorite over Robert Morris. Let me tell you what happens when you use code next round. You get a great sign-on bonus. Right now, it's a 50% sign-on bonus up to $1,000 when you use code next round. And also a $10 casino chip you can use right there in the mybookie.ag casino, which is very fun. $10 casino chip and a sign-on bonus of 50% up to $1,000 with code next round at mybookie.ag. Also, many of you have been printing brackets all week, and you're like, man, that's a lot of printing here. And if you're in one of those businesses that prints a lot all the time, like car dealerships, tax offices, schools, universities, banks, those type things, imagecraft.net can help you save, and we're going to help you save even more. First of all, they got the lowest prices you'll find. They carry all the major brands: HP, Brother, Canon, Dell, Lexmark, Konica Minolta, Kyocera, Ricoh, Sharp, and Xerox. They help you save on all the expensive ink and toner supplies and things like that. Gadsden Highway in Trussville, just down from the Pinnacle Shopping Center, where you can start saving today in person. Mention the code next round. You'll get 10% off. Shop online at imagecraft.net with code TNR10, and you'll save 10% there. Imagecraft.net. Print more, spend less with Imagecraft. All right, Dunaway, you're going to step aside for a moment. Fuhrman will join us. You're going to go study more basketball so you can be smarter after Fuhrman. Is that what you're going to do?
I am. Morgan, our great listener who drives from Kentucky to every Alabama home game and some away games, says Robert Morris 125 miles. So basically Birmingham to Auburn is what you get. Robert Morris to the arena they're playing here today. So not far for them. The opponent for Alabama today, you hear the music playing in the background. The doors are open at Rocket Arena.
Pittsburgh, not Philadelphia, is where you find Robert Morris. Hence,
that's right.
The shorter travel, yes. All right, Todd Fuhrman, BetTheBoardPodcast.com, joins us from Vegas. That is next on The Next Round.
Call The Next Round now at 205-734-0923.
I'm attorney Alexander Shinar, Alabama born, Alabama raised, and ready to fight for your rights. I have one of the largest firms in Alabama, and we are here to help you get the compensation you deserve. Call me, Alabama, 323-1000.
No representation is made that the quality of legal services being performed is greater than those of other lawyers.
Storm season is here. Make sure you have a plan of action in place right now. Greg from Pell City and Storm Restoration Roofing should be your first call when storms hit. Insurance companies love working with Storm Restoration Roofing because of Greg Nelson's name and reputation in the industry. When storms hit, call Greg Nelson. He's local, 205-542-3531. He's the home of the free no-cost roof inspection. Greg from Pell City on Facebook, 205-542-3531. It's Storm Restoration Roofing.
Twin Peaks is the best in the game. Here, you're in the red zone for every college rivalry and divisional matchup all season long. I mean, where else are the scenic views as good as your view of the game? Only at Twin Peaks, the #1 sports bar.
Celebrate the best time of year, tournament time, with MyBookie.ag. Sign up right now with code NEXTROUND and receive a 50% deposit bonus up to $1,000, plus a $10 casino chip. Tournament time is here, so enjoy it even more by playing along at MyBookie.ag. Bet anything, anytime, anywhere with MyBookie.ag. Use code NEXTROUND on your initial deposit for a 50% deposit bonus up to $1,000, plus a $10 casino chip. Don't get caught by the buzzer. Sign up now at MyBookie.ag, code NEXTROUND. If you are a business that does a lot of printing, like a car dealership, mortgage company, real estate office, tax office, bank, school, or university, print more and spend less with ImageCraft. ImageCraft is located at 1151 Gadsden Highway in Trussville, just down from the Pinnacle Shopping Center, and online at imagecraft.net. They carry all the major brands like HP, Brother, Canon, Dell, Lexmark, Konica Minolta, Kyocera, Ricoh, Sharp, and Xerox. Shop in-store, mention TNR for a 10% discount. Shop online at imagecraft.net with coupon code TNR10. ImageCraft. Print more, spend less.
It's bow time. Tired of choosing between sweet and savory? Why not have both? Introducing Bojangles' new chicken and bowberry waffles. The bold Cajun chicken filet you love, now drizzled with a bowberry honey glaze and sandwiched between two warm waffles. Which means your favorite meal of the day just met your new favorite dish. And lucky for you, it's served all day. But it's only here for a limited time, so try chicken and bowberry waffles at Bojangles today. It's bow time.
Happy football season. At the Next Round, we strive to make our loyal listeners feel like they're a part of the action all season long. My name is Emily Grace McWhorter, and I do that by bringing you along for any given Saturday in Auburn or Tuscaloosa. From pregame warm-ups, touchdowns that make you feel a part of the play, and everything in between, our goal is to make you feel like you're inside Bryant Denny or Jordan Hare. Follow along on our social media at Next Round Live on Instagram, X, and Facebook. Also, check out thebarnauburn.com and covercrimson.com while you're at it. Here's to fall Saturdays.
Let's face it, a home is one of the most powerful assets you can have, and our friends at Mortgage Right want to help you build wealth through home ownership. Mortgage Right is all about providing competitive rates, a variety of loan products, and a multitude of resources for a seamless home buying experience. They treat their borrowers like family and are always looking to bring more happy homeowners under their roof. See more by visiting mortgageright.com/TNR today and start living. That's mortgageright.com/TNR. NMLS 2239, Equal Housing Lender.
I'm attorney Alexander Shinar, Alabama born, Alabama raised, and ready to fight for your rights. I have one of the largest firms in Alabama, and we are here to help you get the compensation you deserve. Call me, Alabama, 323-1000.
No representation is made that the quality of legal services being performed is greater than those of other lawyers.
Jim Dunaway, Lance Taylor, Ryan Brown. Live from the Birmingham Racecourse Casino Studios, the Next Round, presented by Bud Light, is on now.
All right, we start hour number 2 on day number 2 of the NCAA Basketball Tournament. Old habits hard to break, Scott. Sorry about that. And don't forget, coming up, a lot of difficult decisions as you try to pick winners throughout this NCAA tournament. One decision that's not that difficult is Bojangles. That's an easy decision for lunch today. At Bojangles, you can get those brand new hand-breaded chicken fried to perfection, perfect for sharing, snacking, or when you're on the go. Just don't make the mistake of calling it a nugget. It is a Bo Bite. The only hard part, picking from the 6 dipping sauces, every kind of craving, from the creamy house-made ranch, sweet and spicy peach honey pepper sauce. Just depends on the mood you're in. Head to your nearest Bojangles today. Discover the dippable, shareable, craveable Bo Bites at Bojangles. It's Bo time. All right, Todd Fuhrman, bettheboardpodcast.com. Bettheboardpodcast.com is kind enough to join us every week from out in the desert with the numbers. What is up, Fuhrman? How are you?
I'm doing well, Brownie. Hopefully the show goes a little bit smoother, my friend, when you are the lone man in studio and you don't have Dunaway and LT dragging you down.
Yeah, it's still 4 minutes late to your segment, though. So, again, old habits are hard to break. I've already had to apologize for that once in this segment. Yesterday, let's just start with a quick look back to yesterday. What was the most surprising thing for you out of day one of the NCAA tournament?
Honestly, pretty much the entire card was anticlimactic.
Yeah.
We, of course, did get 2 upsets. We had Drake more or less box to wire as a 6-point underdog against Missouri. And then credit Will Wade's bunch, who clearly learned something after being blown out by Gonzaga the year before. Box to wire for them, getting out to an 18-8 lead as a 7.5-point underdog against Clemson and coasting to the finish. Although I'm sure for McNeese State Cowboy fans, a little bit closer than they would have liked in the waning moments. But other than Michigan and UC San Diego in the nightcap, we didn't really have anything that came down to the final minute or the final possession. So if history tells us anything, we should be in store for a great day of basketball today and hopefully some close finishes.
Yeah, we should be. Just real quick on Clemson, I was talking with Scott Forrester, our director of video, before the show, and I was talking about how bad that Clemson game was to watch, and he said they scored 13 points in the first half. He's like, how does a team that made the Elite Eight last year, finish second in the ACC, and is a 5 seed, only score 13 points in a half of basketball?
You know, that had kind of always been the knock on Brad Brownell until he got Clemson to the Elite Eight a season ago, that the offense oftentimes disappeared. But this Clemson team, by the metrics, you figured was going to be more than capable of putting together a deep run again. Unfortunately for folks that were sitting on an under ticket, if they had the worst of the number there at 134.5 up to 135, even a 13-point first half from the Clemson Tigers wasn't enough to get them across the finish line. That was probably the most drama that we saw in that game, with that total falling right in the middle at 136 because of Clemson's barrage from beyond the arc that was a little bit too late in terms of getting them across the finish line with a potential victory.
All right, Todd Fuhrman, BetTheBoardPodcast.com is on the Shannara hotline. Alexander Shannara, trial attorneys. Let's talk about today's games, and then we've got point spreads, obviously, for Saturday games. Let's start with Alabama. They're a 21.5-point favorite. We just mentioned it with Dunaway from up in Cleveland in the last segment. Alabama and Robert Morris, the biggest total on the board. The lowest total on the board today is the winner of this game would get this team, either St. Mary's or Vanderbilt. So we've got contrasting styles. We'll get that in a moment, but let's start with the Crimson Tide, 21.5 against Robert Morris. What do you see in this one?
You know, Bobby Moe deserves a ton of credit. It's a program that has done a lot to try and turn things around and become competitive on a year-in, year-out basis, but I think they're running into Alabama at the wrong time. And when you look at teams historically that are blown out by 20 points or more in their conference tournament, they typically bounce back and play with a chip on their shoulder in that opening game of the big dance. Number, in my opinion, probably a touch short for an Alabama team that's going to be far more athletic than Robert Morris. And if Bobby Moe wants to turn this thing into a track meet like the total suggests, I think Alabama may have a chance to flirt with the century mark. So I'd be looking to lay it with the Crimson Tide much faster than I'd be running the back of the underdog plus the 21.5.
So, and by the way, what does Vegas feel about Grant Nelson? I don't know how big of an impact it is in this game. Yay, Alabama. Alabama's collective sent out to their members just a few moments ago that Nelson will be available today. There is no injury report, obviously, because it's not an SEC game. What would be your expectation for Grant Nelson in this game today?
That if they have a way and Coach Oates can play Grant Nelson a minimum of minutes or not even get him out there, that they'll be better served to try and give him another 36 hours of rest, because they will need Grant Nelson against the winner of that Vanderbilt St. Mary's game that you alluded to. And that's the part that's always interesting, although you did see a little bit of resistance yesterday in the Texas Tech game with some injuries for that Red Raiders roster. When you're talking about a number, this high at 21.5, one player's absence, even one that contributes like Grant Nelson does, if he was 100%, it's not like this number would be 24. The impact would be felt much more around that 1 to 2 possession threshold. So you have to imagine Alabama would love to get his feet wet in this environment, but hopefully not overuse him, since his presence will be paramount if they're going to get to the Sweet 16.
Let's talk about Vandy St. Mary's, where the Gaels are a 4.5-point favorite. As I mentioned, it's the lowest total on the board today because they like to slow it down. Bama, if they beat Robert Morris, gets the winner of this one. What do you see in St. Mary's and the Vanderbilt Commodores?
I have to give Mark Byington a ton of credit for what he's been able to do with Vanderbilt, despite their current form and not being anything to write home about. You look at Vandy over their last 9 games, including the conference tournament loss to Texas. I mean, this is a group just 3-6. So current form not working in the favor of the Commodores here. But you look at Jason Edwards, more than capable of taking a game over like this. Randy Bennett and the Gaels, no stranger to playing in the NCAA tournament, but they're also no stranger to playing down to their competition. And I think that's part of the reason with such a low total that you've seen Vanderbilt take a little bit of money. I know there would be a further buy on the Commodores if the price does dip out to 5, or leak out, I should say. So for me, lean towards Vanderbilt plus the points. Love what I've seen from St. Mary's all season long. Their resume only gets bolstered further given what we saw Gonzaga do against Georgia yesterday in dominant fashion. But I think the doors can hang around in this particular spot. Lean under and lean dog here at 4.5.
I brought this up to Dunaway. Dunaway, before the bracket even came out, he was like, I do not want to see St. Mary's in Alabama's bracket because of the way they slow it down. There is a school of thought, I'm curious if Vegas has numbers that back this up or your eyes back this up, that actually the upsets seem to happen when a worse-seeded team plays the similar style to the higher-seeded team. In other words, a 7 or 10 that plays a fast pace against a 2-seed Alabama, rather than contrasting styles, that you actually find the upsets in similar styles more than contrasting styles. Is there any evidence that backs up that school of thought?
It's always tricky because I think you have to look at each individual instance independently. And when you approach a game like this, there's no doubt that if Alabama can turn this game, should it be the matchup we get against St. Mary's, and can force the tempo a bit, that Alabama just has a lot more firepower that St. Mary's won't be able to match. And they only have one path to victory. Now, on the flip side of things, we did see Drake drag Missouri into the swamp. And for stretches in that second half, it looked like Missouri was going to make a run. But Drake forced the tempo and pace the way that they wanted that game to be played, and were rewarded for it. And you mentioned kind of looking ahead to Saturday, and I'm sure we'll touch on some of those numbers. We may have something relatively similar, although not quite apples to apples, between arguably the crown jewel of that schedule with a number 1 seed in Houston, laying a relatively short number for the casual fan against Gonzaga, where Houston right now looks to be right around a 4.5, 5-point favorite in that 1-8 showdown.
All right, let's talk about a couple of teams, and we'll get to that in a second. Let's talk about a couple teams that if you're just stumbling into mybookie.ag or opening up an app and seeing a point spread, you're going to be maybe surprised at 2 teams that are favored today. Let's start with North Carolina, who had to play their way into this thing in Dayton, and they find themselves a favor over a team from the mighty SEC, the Ole Miss Rebels. They opened as a favorite, Fuhrman. They've stayed as a favorite of 1.5 in this game against Ole Miss today.
This is a little bit of recency bias factoring in here, but I can tell you from professional bettors that this game has been an absolute war in the betting market. You had folks that were looking to get ahead of it and laid North Carolina with a cheap money line price tag in that minus $1.10 up to a minus $1.25. And then you have a betting group that has substantial influence in the market that was more than happy to take Ole Miss plus the 2. For me, from an X's and O's standpoint, North Carolina, the better roster top to bottom, but it's hard to truly quantify the difference in coaching capabilities that gives Ole Miss the edge with Chris Beard matched up against Hubert Davis. But don't tell that to North Carolina teams, because you look at what Hubert Davis has been able to accomplish in the tournament from an ATS perspective, and he's been one of the best coaches in the business. So this game going to be truly fascinating for me, because I think whoever emerges victorious in this spot may have a great opportunity to knock off the winner of Iowa State Lipscomb and punch their ticket into the second weekend of the Big Dance.
It is odd, too, to see a 12-15 where the 12 is favored over the, or excuse me, 12-5 where the 12 is favored over the 5. But that's what we have in Colorado State and Memphis, and it's not like Memphis is some garbage name. That's a fairly name-brand program there. But Colorado State opened as the favorite in this game, and they've stayed the favorite in this game, much like North Carolina.
Big question for Memphis is how this team will look, playing without their point guard, losing Tyrese Hunter hurt, but it didn't slow them down against UAB in the American Athletic Conference Championship game. When you look at the way Memphis performed there, exceeding odds makers' expectations despite taking money against them with that 84-72 victory. Colorado State, meanwhile, in a little bit of a unique spot, one of the worst kept secrets, arguably in all of college basketball, not named Will Wade, that Nico Medved will most likely be the next head coach for the Minnesota Golden Gophers. So you wonder if Colorado State comes in a little bit distracted, or if it's a team that plays just to kind of continue extending their postseason. But the one thing I will say about the Rams, and part of the reason that they're getting so much respect in the betting market, going back to early February, this is a team that a lot of the forward-facing analytics sites have ranked as playing a top 10 caliber of basketball. You look at how they've performed since losing to Utah State by 8 points back on February 11th. I mean, they've been absolutely dynamite, exceeding odds makers' expectations more often than not. Put together a complete performance in, what I think was a must-win in the Mountain West Conference Championship against Boise State. But you mentioned Memphis not kind of being chopped liver. This is a group, when they went through the non-conference portion of their schedule, that was tremendous. I think they have a massive edge in terms of overall athleticism. And the one thing we've grown accustomed to in March, you can set your watch by it, betting on Mountain West teams is a very risky proposition. I lean Memphis here, catching that point.
Those two worlds collide tonight, by the way. A stat that I have given on the show a couple times, I actually texted you last night, and the Mountain West. When a 7-10 game happens where a 10 seed actually has the better record than the 7 seed, the 10 seed is now 1-15 in 16 of those matchups. You get another one tonight. Last night's loser was a Mountain West team. Tonight's team, a Mountain West team. Marquette is playing New Mexico. New Mexico's got the better record as the 10 seed, which would tell you, give me some of the Lobos. I get the feeling, or like that record's about to be 1-17 now, not 1-16.
This isn't a game where I'm running to the window to back Marquette because I just don't have a ton of confidence in what I've seen from Shaka Smart's team down the stretch, and more importantly, what we've seen from Shaka on a year in, year out basis in the NCAA tournament. We go back to what he was able to accomplish at VCU at that Cinderella run, and since then, some of the results have been pretty pedestrian. Fortunately for New Mexico, they have a player that can go toe-to-toe with anybody on the court in Donovan Dent, and you do wonder if New Mexico learned a little bit last year when people wanted to try and take them as a Cinderella, and they just were unable to hold up against Clemson in that opening round matchup. As this number continues to creep out, I actually think you're going to see some money before tip-off tonight come in on the Lobos at 4.5, potentially at 5 if it got there. For me, not a game I have a real strong opinion on, but I am always fascinated by a car wreck and somewhere along a Mountain West team that when they have teams seeded 10 or worse, currently sitting on a 1-23 straight up record, and things get to be pretty ugly if you back out what San Diego State before this season has been able to accomplish over the last couple of seasons in the postseason.
All right, Todd Fuhrman, bettheboardpodcast.com, bettheboardpodcast.com, at Todd Fuhrman on social media. Before he goes, Todd, let's look ahead to a few Saturday games. We'll start with Auburn, a performance that we've played countless sound bites from their team and their players, calling it an embarrassing performance against Alabama State in the 20-point win. They are the biggest favorite on the board Saturday as they play Creighton, who looked really good against Louisville. Auburn, a 9.5-point favorite. That performance against Alabama State did not slow the odds makers down at all.
No, number did open a touch higher at 10.5, and you saw a little bit of a buy on Creighton initially, but I think we're getting to territory now where you can almost buy the dip in Auburn stock, and we may have traveled, a little bit too far if we get into that 8.5 or even an 8 in this game. You mentioned Auburn saying it was embarrassing. Bruce Pearl didn't exactly mince words in his post-game presser either, but you do wonder if Auburn can just flip a switch and start to look like the team that we saw earlier in the year, because down the stretch, it almost looked like Auburn was going through the motions. And I think the big matchup to watch in this game will be, of course, how Creighton can defend Janae Broome down low. If they have to double him and Auburn's going to knock down shots from the outside like we saw in the second half, there's a path for Auburn winning and winning comfortably with a huge edge in athleticism. If that isn't the case, this is a veteran-laden group in Creighton. It's got a couple of guys that can beat you from the perimeter. But for me, I thought 10.5 was a little bit too steep, but if it did get down to 8, I'd be looking at Auburn or pass. I do think the total offers a little bit of upside, though, at 150.5. I think we could see some points in Lexington, and you have to imagine you're going to have a pro-Auburn crowd in the building, more so than the Jays traveling to the home of the Kentucky Wildcats.
A much skinnier number for a 1 seed is Houston, a team I've got winning it all. So I do not need this loss by any stretch of the imagination. Gonzaga, who was tremendous against Georgia, and Houston's only a 5-point favorite. Now, the way Houston plays, 5 points for them can be a little more for other teams.
For sure. And I think when you're looking at a total of 140, every point starts to get to be all that much more important. What's interesting about this game, and because Gonzaga has been one of the more polarizing teams in the betting market, you saw two very prominent national sports books open this game early yesterday, one as high as Houston -6.5, the other as low as Gonzaga -3.5. And that is extremely rare to see a 3-point disparity this late in the season. But I've lived through this before with Gonzaga, and my concern is, despite how efficient they are offensively and what we saw from a ball movement standpoint and balance against Georgia, that the level of physicality they're going to encounter against Houston may provide a very difficult matchup. Look, Gonzaga was grossly underseeded, and we knew that they could be one of the more difficult 8 seeds that any of the top teams were going to be able to draw. But I think this Houston team, with their veteran leadership, feels a little bit different. They're going to turn into a slightly more physical game. And if the refs aren't going to call tight whistles in this spot, I think Houston can win this game going away. Not stealing anything here with Houston -5, but I erred on the side of making this number a little bit bigger. And I think the matchup here favors Houston. So I'll look at the Cougars here -5. Not sure I can get behind the dog, despite the fact that I'm sure Gonzaga will no doubt make LT's card come Saturday.
UCLA was dominant last night, and they are a 4-point dog, 4.5 point, I should say, right now at mybookie.ag against Tennessee. What do you see in that game Saturday with the Vols and the Bruins?
Like the under a bit in this game. You mentioned UCLA, and they were kind of a runaway freight train against Utah State. They're going to find it much more difficult to try and get some of those easy buckets against the Vols. The one thing that we've seen from Tennessee is the defense always continues to be their calling card, and while they are a little bit more dynamic offensively, Mick Cronin, no stranger to getting his team to be buttoned up on a quick 36-hour turnaround. I love some of the pressers that we got from Mick Cronin all season long. Maybe my favorite coming out of the Big Ten tournament. Yeah, we don't care about the conference tournament. We're focused on the big dance more than anything else. Don't see any real strong case to be made for either side here, but that total sitting in that 132, 133 range, I think we'll see some under money, and it wouldn't be shocking at all to see the first team to 60 win this game in Lexington in that late time slot on Saturday night.
All right, bettheboardpodcast.com. All the games up right there at bettheboardpodcast.com. Vegas is alive right now, I'm sure. I hear it is a blast out there this time of year. I've never been this time of year. I'm sure the locals like Fuhrman are like, it is not a blast at all. It's way too many people this time of year. I would imagine.
Hey, you know what? It's a little bit quieter in the home office, but I did venture down into the belly of the beast yesterday. I actually watched the second half of that Michigan UC San Diego right in the center strip at the Cosmopolitan. And I will say, for those folks who are looking for a unique sports experience, people talk all the time about coming out to Vegas for the Super Bowl. The opening weekend of the NCAA tournament is no doubt the time to be here. If you're looking to try and go to nightclubs and see what Vegas is known for, I'll just warn you, the ratios do get a little bit skewed as predominantly male on Las Vegas Boulevard that third weekend in March.
Have you ever done the Golden Steer? I see people rave about that joint in Vegas. Is it what everybody says it is?
So it's good, but I wouldn't say it's great. If you like old school Vegas, Golden Steer is tremendous. You get some of those red leather vinyl booths. You're going to get the very casino-like feel. They do some tableside Caesar salad, little Cherries Jubilee. But the steak in the past hasn't been great. The one restaurant, if you're looking for that old school Vegas experience that people don't talk about nearly enough, is actually Piero's. And if you are a fan of casino, there's a scene in that Italian restaurant there. You can see exactly where Joe Pesci and Robert De Niro were back in the day. And they do a tremendous job with Italian cuisine. So Piero's would be that old school Vegas restaurant that I'd actually recommend before the Golden Steer.
Look at Fuhrman with some tips for those of you who headed to Vegas at some point. All right, Fuhrman, enjoy the rest of the action this weekend. We'll talk to you next week about the Elite Eight and the Sweet 16. As always, thank you for the time, my man.
Always a pleasure. Enjoy the next 72 hours of basketball. Should be a lot of entertainment and excitement, and hopefully more winners than losers in those old portfolios.
You too, brother. Take care. That is Todd Fuhrman. BetTheBoardPodcast.com. BetTheBoardPodcast.com. Like all of our guests, Fuhrman joined us on the Alexander Shinora Trial Attorneys Hotline, the Shinora Hotline. All right, all the games I just mentioned, I was giving you point spreads from MyBookie.ag. They've brought you the Bracket Challenge. We appreciate them doing that, trying to get you some prizes for picking games the right way. But don't forget also MyBookie.ag, code next round. All weekend long, every single game right there at the NCAA Tournament is available. MyBookie.ag, code next round. When you log on and you use code next round, when you register for the first time there, you're going to get a 50% sign-up bonus up to $1,000. Also, a $10 casino chip right there for the MyBookie.ag casino. So sign up, use code NEXTROUND, get a 50% sign-on bonus up to $1,000. And also, you can get that casino chip, a $10 casino chip at MyBookie.ag, code NEXTROUND, MyBookie.ag, code NEXTROUND. Auburn, a 9.5-point favorite in the next round against Creighton right there at MyBookie.ag. And Alabama, a 21.5-point favorite today against Robert Morris. Speaking of the Crimson Tide, Dunaway will rejoin us in the next segment for Up in Cleveland, but as part of his coverage there for Alabama's first-round trip to Cleveland, he had a chance to catch up with Alabama analyst, former Crimson Tide player Brian Passing, to get his thoughts on Grant Nelson, who is listed, who word is today from Yay, Alabama, to their subscribers, who is available today, and also just this matchup against Robert Morris and where Alabama basketball is right now. Here's Jim Dunaway with Alabama analyst Brian Passing.
First off, Grant Nelson, I watched him move around at shoot-around. What did you think of him?
Well, he looks pretty good to me, but obviously dealing with a knee issue, and thankfully it's not as serious as they once feared. So not sure if he's going to be able to play today, but we hope that he'll at least be able to play on Sunday. If there is a Sunday, it's March Madness. There's no guarantees, but hopefully we see a lot of Grant Nelson in this tournament.
Yeah, you've seen this tournament. You've played in this tournament. Robert Morris will have a big crowd for their game with Alabama. What do you like to do in a first-round game if you're a seed like Alabama at number 2?
Well, you got to take care of business. Robert Morris is a good team. They've got one of the nation's longest winning streaks, but they're a team out of the horizon, and one of the top SEC teams should be able to take care of business, but they're going to have essentially a home court advantage, just being less than 2 hours away from campus in Pittsburgh. But there'll be a lot of Alabama fans here as well. And this is a veteran Alabama team. You've got some newcomers, but you got some guys and some leaders that understand you got to be ready to play each and every night in the NCAA tournament, and that's going to be the case against Robert Morris.
Yeah, it's Jim Dunaway talking with Brian Passink, the Alabama Crimson Tide Sports Network analyst. Dunaway will rejoin us from up in Cleveland in just a few moments. Before we get to that, though, Tyler is going to give us his viewing menu presented by our friends at Michelson Laser Vision. They always bring you Tyler's viewing menu every single day. Lance got that LASIK surgery from Michelson Laser Vision, which basically took him from being nearly legally blind to fighter pilot vision. LASIK surgery with doctors Mark and Jennifer Michelson, who are pioneers in the industry of laser surgery. 969-8100 to make an appointment or get that risk-free evaluation, or michelsonlaservision.com. Change your life with the gift of perfect vision from Michelson Laser Vision. 969-8100 or michelsonlaservision.com. They bring you the viewing menu. Tyler, I started my day by asking you, did you go to a movie last night? You said, I went to 2 last night.
Yep. I saw the Snow White live-action remake. It's been getting a lot of buzz lately for a bunch of reasons that have nothing to do with the actual movie.
Correct.
So I wanted to just watch the movie and judge it for being a movie. And it was awful.
Yeah.
If you're interested in watching it at some point, I'd say just wait for it to hit Disney+. These types of movies usually do maybe 3-4 weeks after the initial release, but it's just not worth paying for.
Okay.
And then after that, I saw a movie called Locked, which has Bill Skarsgård and Anthony Hopkins.
Mm-hmm.
And this is about a thief who breaks into the wrong car, and he gets trapped in the car by the owner, and the owner has his own sort of sense of justice, like, oh, you stole from me, you lose a hand type of stuff.
Oh, it's eye for eye. That's Old
Yeah.
Testament, very Old Testament. You steal, I cut your hand off. You look at my wife, I gouge your eye out. Yeah,
Yep.
very, very Old Testament.
And Anthony Hopkins does not care for anyone's excuses for why they choose to steal.
Okay, yeah. He was not up for your reasoning. Right.
Yep. But tonight we've got a bunch of new movies in the theaters. We've got a movie called The Alto Knights, which stars Robert De Niro as Vito Genovese and Frank Costello.
Now, you said Robert De Niro twice. Does he play 2 roles in
He
this?
plays both Vito Genovese and Frank Costello.
Okay.
So you got
That's
two
a lot of work.
old
Does he
man mobster De Niros.
Does he get paid double for this?
I would hope so.
I mean, he's doing twice the work, right? Okay.
It's true. But it's just a story of these two mob bosses. Vito Genovese tried to assassinate Frank Costello.
Right.
So you'll get to see 2 different takes on the Robert De Niro mob boss. You've also got the movie Ash. A woman wakes up on a distant planet and finds the crew of her space station viciously killed. And then she investigates what happens, and it stars Aaron Paul. So I'm looking forward to this because I feel like we don't get to see Mr. Jesse Pinkman in too much these days.
Yeah, he has kind of disappeared, hasn't he?
Yeah, he's got his mezcal business with Bryan Cranston, and that's about all I see him doing these days.
You think they make good money off that, I wonder?
I think.
Do they?
I think celebrity alcohol is a good moneymaker.
It must be because everybody's doing it.
Yeah. And then also in theaters, it's a limited run. I've been looking for showtimes everywhere. I will see this at some point. It's called Popeye the Slayer Man. A curious group of friends sneak into an abandoned spinach canning factory to investigate the legend of the Sailor Man, who is said to haunt the factory and local docks. So this is just another one of those character has entered public domain, so we're going to make a slasher movie out of it.
Yeah. So I guess we'll get a lot more of that as the years go, right?
Yes.
All right, Tyler, thank you very much. That is. Oh, no, wait a minute. Jay says the movie you described about the car, is that Jigsaw with a car, basically?
It's got some elements of Saw, I would say.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
There's definitely a sort of where the bad guy has his moral code and it's wrong by
But he's
every
still
definition of it, but he still operates by it.
Okay. All right. Very interesting. Very interesting. All right. So that is Tyler's viewing menu presented by Michelson. Thank you, Tyler. You heard Fuhrman talk a lot about the games. We gave you some point spreads. Lance will have his locks up today. Already up, I'm sure, with games tipping as we're live here in about half an hour. You can get those courtesy of our friends at Hemp Hill, lanceslock.com. That is lanceslock.com. He's got that great special going right now, and you can get that at lanceslock.com. His lock always presented by Hemp Hill Services. If it's not flowing right, draining right, or running right, from plumbing to HVAC, trust the name that Birmingham has trusted for decade upon decade, and trust the name that we trust right here on the show. They've serviced all of our homes. That's Hemp Hill Services, 229-2090, 229-2090, hemphillservices.com. That's 205 area code. Chad, Adam, the entire gang right there at Hemp Hill Services. They bring you the luck each day. All right, we're going to head back up to Cleveland. Dunaway rejoins us from the side of Alabama, and Robert Morris, as well as some other games, coming up later on today. We'll look back a little bit more at last night and look forward to today and day 2 of March Madness in the NCAA Tournament. It is the next round presented by Bud Light. We're live in the Birmingham Racecourse Casino studio.
Everything Next Round is on demand now in the podcast section at nextroundlive.com.
I'm attorney Alexander Shinar, Alabama born, Alabama raised, and ready to fight for your rights. I have one of the largest firms in Alabama, and we are here to help you get the compensation you deserve. Call me, Alabama, 323-1000.
Your representation states that the quality of legal services being performed is greater than those of other lawyers.
Hey, there's nothing worse than waking up to a plumbing problem. Don't get caught in a flooded house. Call the guys at Hemp Hill Services. Adam, Chad, and the team at Hemp Hill are the only ones I trust to fix it and fix it right the first time. Hemp Hill Services does it right and always at a fair price. For all of your plumbing, cooling, and heating needs, trust the name that Birmingham has trusted since 1954. That is Hemp Hill Services. Call now, 205-229-2090. That's 205-229-2090.
Follow Next Round Live on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. The social media team at Next Round Live is dedicated to giving you daily news conferences and practice video from UAB, Alabama, Auburn, and around college football. Follow and compare to the sites you used to visit. You'll also get the latest highlights and news from the Next Round Daily Show. Turn on the notifications so you don't miss a thing. Next Round Live on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. See more at nextroundlive.com.
If you are a business that does a lot of printing, like a car dealership, mortgage company, real estate office, tax office, bank, school, or university, print more and spend less with ImageCraft. ImageCraft is located at 1151 Gadsden Highway in Trussville, just down from the Pinnacle Shopping Center, and online at imagecraft.net. They carry all the major brands like HP, Brother, Canon, Dell, Lexmark, Konica Minolta, Kyocera, Ricoh, Sharp, and Xerox. Shop in-store, mention TNR for a 10% discount. Shop online at imagecraft.net with coupon code TNR10. ImageCraft. Print more, spend less.
Celebrate the best time of year, tournament time, with mybookie.ag. Sign up right now, code NEXTROUND, and receive a 50% deposit bonus up to $1,000. Plus, a $10 casino chip. Tournament time is here, so enjoy it even more by playing along at mybookie.ag. Bet anything, anytime, anywhere with mybookie.ag. Use code NEXTROUND on your initial deposit for a 50% deposit bonus up to $1,000. Plus, $10 casino chip. Don't get caught by the buzzer. Sign up now at mybookie.ag, code NEXTROUND. Stop by the New York Butcher Shop and pick up the finest in certified Angus prime beef steaks and burgers, premium pork chops, ribs, and all-natural chicken cut to order just for you. Their chef-prepared entrees and side dishes are the perfect dinner-to-go choice for your family and are ready to heat at home. With a great selection of fine wines and desserts, the New York Butcher Shop is your one-stop dinner shop. 2 locations to serve you, Cahaba Heights and on Highway 119 in Greystone. The New York Butcher Shop. Rare quality, well-done service.
It's bow time. Tired of choosing between sweet and savory? Why not have both? Introducing Bojangles' new chicken and bowberry waffles. The bold Cajun chicken filet you love, now drizzled with a bowberry honey glaze and sandwiched between 2 warm waffles. Which means your favorite meal of the day just met your new favorite dish. And lucky for you, it's served all day. But it's only here for a limited time, so try chicken and bowberry waffles at Bojangles today. It's bow time.
It's time to pull the trigger on the Next Round merch that you've been eyeing. We know there's a lot to choose from at nextround.store, so here's a few of our favorite picks. If you want to match LT and Brown, go with the TNR logo hoodie and throw in one of Dunaway's favorite hats. Any of them will do. The Backroom's go-to is the classic logo t-shirt, while my personal favorite is the light blue TNR crew neck. All of these items can be found at nextround.store and are EG approved. Rest assured, your order will be packed with lots of love from us here at the Next Round. Head over to nextround.store to start filling up your cart.
I'm attorney Alexander Shinar, Alabama born, Alabama raised, and ready to fight for your rights. I have one of the largest firms in Alabama, and we are here to help you get the compensation you deserve. Call me, Alabama, 323-1000.
Your representation states that the quality of legal services being performed is greater than those of other lawyers.
All right, we continue on the next round. Dunaway is up in Cleveland, as you see there, getting ready for Alabama. It's a much nicer looking day in Cleveland, by the way. Alabama, Robert Morris coming up about an hour from now if you're listening to us live. I mean, the sun's out. I didn't know the sun ever shines in Cleveland.
It snowed yesterday afternoon as the Auburn game was ending, and Taylor and I were live on the basketball show presented by our friends at Culver's and the women's March Madness in Birmingham. The snow started to fall outside my window. It didn't last long, no accumulation. It was more of a wintry mix, they tell me. But it was it's currently 37 degrees, which is why I'm thankful on this right inside the big glass and not outside like I was yesterday.
Yeah, so it looks nice, doesn't feel nice. Jim mentioned Culver's. Don't forget right now the Culver's Deluxe, fresh, never frozen ground beef on a butter bun with lettuce, tomato, onion, pickle, and American cheese, cooked to your order. And you can finish off with a great dessert. The concrete mixers, choose from Culver's many toppings, have them added to your custard and blended together. Culver's, welcome to Delicious. Tyler was championing, what was it you were talking about in the chat room earlier, Tyler?
It is the new limited time Northwoods walleye sandwich. I think if you're a big catfish eater, you'll like the walleye flavor.
Okay.
It's very good.
Just in time for Lent, right? A lot of people have to eat that fish on Fridays, so we got that walleye sandwich that Tyler was like, man, that was great. So you had it with some onion rings yesterday?
Yep. Culver's has the best onion rings you can get at any restaurant. Scott had a large plate of them, too. I had a large plate yesterday. And then there's also the North Atlantic cod sandwich. Back to the whole fish Lent meal.
Scott, large plate of onion rings? Scott, large plate? Is that what you say?
Yeah, it's all I ate for lunch yesterday.
All you ate was onion rings from
onion
Culver's?
rings. Okay. Just onion rings.
All right.
That's how good they are.
They are
good. They are good. That is
I love me some Culver's, but it sounds like Tyler Forrester and Culver's should all get a room.
You're not wrong.
You're not wrong, Tyler says, yes. Also experience March Madness live at Legacy Arena March 28th through the 31st. 8 teams fighting for 2 spots in the 2025 Women's Final Four in Tampa. Get your tickets now, ncaa.com/WBB tickets, ncaa.com/WBB tickets, and be part of the madness in Birmingham. All right, I know people consume our show different ways. Some are watching live right now, obviously. Some will get this later today. So this will be a little bit dated if you're getting it later today. But, Jim, if you would, for those that are watching live, you mentioned it before the top of the hour last hour, what Yay Alabama had sent out concerning Grant Nelson today for Alabama against Robert Morris coming up in about an hour.
Yeah, and he is available today. We'll see if he plays, how much playing time he will get. It is a situation where we watched him during open practice yesterday, and Brian Passing also commented on our At Next Round Live social media feed, both of us with separate eyes, separate posts and that, thinking Grant Nelson moved around really well and would be available today. And now Yay Alabama confirms that reporting to this morning that he is available. I talked to Grant Nelson yesterday. You guys played it on the show yesterday in the locker room. I asked him about pain management. I go, is this just a pain management situation, or is it restricting your movement any at all? And he said, quote, I don't really know.
We saw that. That was kind of odd, yeah.
Yeah, to which I was stunned a little bit. And afterwards, I even joked with him. I was like, do I need to explain pain management? I mean, does it hurt? And he goes, it hurts a little bit, but it's not too bad. And so that's when I said, okay, if it's not hurting too bad. And so I take it that he's definitely a go for Sunday, and we'll see if Alabama's there, and we'll see how limited he is when we get in there. I can't wait to get down to the floor and watch the warm-ups. And just let everybody know how he's moving around out there, because that will be more of a test than what we saw in the open practice yesterday, because it ended up being mostly just shooting, no movement at all.
Yeah, so you'll be down on the floor, and some of that video will come out on social media at Next Round Live, so we'll see how he's moving around there in the arena. I'm curious, as you talk to players, we've seen you talk with Aiden Holloway and Grant Nelson. Like, I lose track of when these guys were growing up. But you mentioned it yesterday, the house that LeBron built, and LeBron is one of the most famous players in America. They saw him play a lot of games in this arena. I'm curious if you heard any talk about that. Like, we're playing in the house that LeBron built. I mean, this is where he launched his career with the Cavaliers.
Oh yeah, that was my question, and my friends at AL.com were with me when I asked that question the first time, and then by the time I got into other groups with other players, they had taken that question, was asking it to them, and I even joked with Youngblood. I was like, "Hey, you're gonna have to answer that again because I came in mid-answer, but that was my question that they'd stolen from me." And the AL.com folks got a big laugh out of that. They're like, "Man, I'm so sorry," and I was like, "No, man, it's all fun and games." But it was my question, and so they get a kick out of that. They're practicing where LeBron practiced when he was here over at the Cleveland Clinic, and this arena was built. They played in a crappy arena here. This arena was built off of LeBron being drafted, so it's a big deal. Remember, and I joked with Youngblood about this, Chris Youngblood. I was like, you weren't with the team last year, but they got to play in his West Coast home last year out in LA.
Oh, that's true. I didn't think about that.
Yeah. So, and I asked the players who the greatest NBA player of all time. You can go back and see that answer at Next Round Live. But Aiden and Youngblood both went Kobe Bryant. It wasn't even Michael Jordan or LeBron James. They went Kobe Bryant.
Yeah.
But I got one interesting fact, and I've never thought about this, but it's an interesting fact that it should be positive Alabama today and then Sunday if they win. I talked to a guy who is in charge of selling basketball goals and rims and the way they are set up. And I was the first person to go through credentialing yesterday, as I usually am. And so I was down on the court before really anybody else has showed up.
Right.
Because I had to get here for our live.
Sure. Yes. There was a reason. Yes.
But I went on to see if credentialing is open. It was. So I came in and I was lost and I met a guy. And he actually told me, I work for this company and we set up the rims. And as we were parting ways, I said, well, make them soft because Alabama's going to want to shoot the threes. And he said, quote, "Oh, they're shooter friendly in this place." He goes, any NBA arena you go to, the NBA arenas are set up because it's a show in the NBA and they don't have tight rims in NBA arena. And you think back to the way Alabama shot in LA in the Lakers building.
Absolutely.
How well they shot. I never thought of this.
I haven't either. Yeah.
How well, and this guy's in charge of setting up rims. He sells them for a living. He goes, they are set up shooter friendly in the NBA because it's entertainment. It's almost like, throwing a ring, at the circus, they have smaller rims, bouncier balls because they don't want you to make the shots. In the NBA, it's just the opposite. They want you to make shots. It's a show. So Alabama, their best shooting last year in the NCAA tournament was in LA and the Sweet 16 and the Elite Eight. And he tells me that the rims are shooter friendly, not as hard, not as stiff, a soft rim. So that's what Alabama will experience here today and hopefully on Sunday in Cleveland as well.
That is interesting. And there's also a storyline, and this is going to be one of the greatest Dunaway-esque transitions of all time, on the actual balls that are used. And the how much the balls are inflated. And this is a real thing in the NCAA tournament. Before we tell you that, let me tell you about Urology Centers of Alabama. Speaking of, UCA, 35 urologists in 16 locations treating all your urological needs, from prostate health to kidney stones to vasectomies. Listen, urological health, all joking aside, something you absolutely have to stay on top of, men and ladies. But 930-0920 or urologycentersalabama.com. That's 930-205 area code, 930-0920 or urologycentersalabama.com to schedule an appointment. You don't know this until you see games in the arena. So this is not like one of those things you can use to pick your bracket. This is a gambling trend, okay? But some of these arenas, when they get to the NCAA tournament, each school uses their own basketballs, right? When you're playing at Auburn Arena, at Neville Arena, Auburn's providing the basketballs. At Coleman, Alabama's providing the basketballs. It's part of the home court advantage, right? It's the basketball I practice with. We know this ball. Players swear to us. I can close my eyes. You can hand me a Nike basketball, a Spalding basketball, a Wilson basketball. I can tell the difference just by an Adidas. I can tell the difference by touching it. You get to the NCAA tournament, it's a unified basketball, but how much they're inflated actually differs because it's being done by different people, right? You would think it would be standard, but one guy in Cleveland's doing it, one guy in San Antonio's doing it. The games where they're overinflated go under the total almost all the time. It's this weird Vegas trend, and they're like later on, they're like, hey, they were playing with overinflated basketballs, but they go under all the time. So I would be curious to know what the inflation level is in the basketballs in Cleveland as much as I want to know about the rims. I don't, there's no way you can find this out, but I don't know if the NBA has if the NBA guy's doing it, if he's like, no, they like them a little, I would imagine they like them a little more underinflated because that would lead to more scoring.
Yeah, I don't know if they're in charge of the balls, the NBA facility is. I do know that they are new basketballs that have never been used before, and they were used in shoot-around yesterday. So that's the first use. They're straight out of the wrapper into shoot-around, and so you shoot with balls that will be pulled. The game ball will be pulled from those that are used in shoot-around. So the inflation level, I don't know a way you can figure that out in advance, but 100%, that makes sense, right? You overinflate it. You're not going to get the dull bounce even off of soft rims.
Yeah, it was. There were several that they found last year. A couple of the sites where they were underinflated, and they noticed every one of the games went under. Like every one of them was under the scoring total. And I think even the Final Four site, they determined some of those were a little bit overinflated last year. And I think Alabama UConn played under the total. Maybe the Purdue game did as well. I'm not certain, but I think that was one of the sites last year was the Final Four site where they said they were a little bit overinflated there. So
yeah,
just
and you get that big
thought.
Arena, that dome football stadium. That's a tough shooting background.
Anyway, yeah.
That was really, really difficult. But this arena here compared to Crypto, I loved it here. They've got a really neat, low, tight seating, a little more steeper than Crypto was. This is a nice viewing arena for those that, if you watch it on television today, it'll be a good look for you on television. And if you're a fan here, if you've got a lower bowl seat, these are great seats.
Literally was built to watch LeBron play basketball, wasn't it?
Really was.
I mean, literally was. I mean, that was the whole purpose behind it. All right, let's do 4 downs. It's brought to you every single day by Bojangles. If you're tired of choosing between sweet and savory, why not have both? Introducing Bojangles' new chicken and bowberry waffles. Signature Cajun chicken filet drizzled with a bowberry glaze, sandwiched between 2 warm waffles. Available for a limited time. It's bow time.
First down.
Biggest SEC disappointment so far. Was it Texas losing and firing their coach? Was it Georgia getting run out of the building against a good Gonzaga team? Or a higher-seeded Missouri team, better-seeded Missouri team, dropping a game to 11-seed Drake? What was your biggest of the 3? I guess you could go with a winner, too, if you wanted to say Auburn. Seems like a stretch there, but that's up to you, Jimmy D. Biggest SEC disappointment so far?
Well, it's going to be Missouri, though some of us saw it coming from a mile away. Unbelievable turnaround by that Missouri team that was 0-18 in the SEC last year just to make the NCAA tournament. But it's by far Missouri because they were a team, Texas ate up a spot that somebody else wanted and they didn't win, but they fired their coach. The other loss, Georgia, I mean, the metrics show that Gonzaga is a much more talented basketball team, right?
They did, and probably, I mean, it's going to be easy to say this now, criminally underseeded. I will point this out, Dunaway. Houston, who I'm invested in here in this bracket challenge, is only a 5-point favorite over Gonzaga in round 2. I mean, to put that in perspective, Auburn is a 9.5-point favorite, open 10.5 against Creighton. So that shows you the respect that Gonzaga got out of that win over Georgia.
100%, and that's spot on. So that's a tough game for Houston.
No doubt.
They'll have to play their A game to win that one. So it's Missouri for me, though Drake's a good basketball team. It was a bad draw for Missouri, but they are disappointing just because they had the smaller number, and you hate to see those teams bounce early in the SEC bracket.
Second down.
Projection now. What do you fear will be the biggest SEC disappointment moving forward from this time on, either a loss today or earlier than you would think exit from the NCAA tournament? What do you fear will be the biggest SEC disappointment team moving forward now?
I'm worried about Alabama if they survive today against Saint Mary's, if Saint Mary's is the team. I am concerned that Alabama has had moments of greatness and then moments of not greatness, and that Saint Mary's team with a great defense concerns me a little bit. After that, I still am not all bought in on Tennessee. Tennessee is a team I think can struggle like Alabama. They've had moments of greatness and moments where they have not looked good this year.
Yeah, and UCLA was extremely impressive last night. That's another game that's got a maybe skinnier than some would think number coming up in the next round. Tennessee's only a 4.5-point favorite in that game over UCLA. And UCLA's going to be rested because that game was over at the half last night.
Yeah, so for me, it's those 4 teams that separated themselves from everyone else. That's the only place we can be disappointed. And really, you can't say they've got to win the national championship. But to me, Auburn and Florida, if they come up anywhere short of the Final Four, that's a disappointment.
Yeah.
And for Tennessee and Alabama, it's the Elite Eight minimum for those 2 teams because they've been a top 8 team all year long. And I know the draws can be, tricky, but they've got to get to at least the Elite Eight, or I'm going to call it a disappointment. And you're going to say, well, Jim, Alabama's only been to the Elite Eight once in their history, and the Final Four once. How can you say it's got to be at least the Elite Eight? What about the Sweet 16 if they just get to the second weekend? No, this team's too good for that. They've been top 8 all year long. They need to go to at least the Elite Eight. And hell, I'm still going to be disappointed in that. But they need to at least go to the Elite Eight, and Auburn and Florida's got to at least go to the Final Four.
Third down.
All right, think through this before you answer quickly because there's a couple of angles you could take on this. By the way, celebrity birthdays today were awful. So, unfortunately, no celebrity birthdays in 4 downs. I regret that. It's my favorite part of 4 downs, but they were awful today.
Sometimes the list is just like a bunch of TikTok stars.
Yeah, you had
it's like, well, what am I supposed to do with this?
I know you had some of that. You had like Rosie O'Donnell. It was a poor list today. I pulled it up knowing I had to do 4 downs, which is very rare that I do 4 downs on this show, as you can see by these questions so far. Very rare that I do 4 downs. And when I opened it and saw the celebrity birthdays, I was like, well, crap, I get no help out of this. So think through this one, Dunaway, because there's a couple of ways you could go with this. Fuhrman just told us Alabama scoring 100 against Robert Morris very much on the table today. Total games in this tournament that Bama scores 90 plus. Would you say, I put the over under at 2.5. Would you take the over or the under?
I would take the under.
Okay, now,
because
I'm going to say
that was a quick answer. That was a quick answer.
They probably do it today.
Yep.
BYU, I told you guys, BYU is going to beat VCU. So it's BYU, Wisconsin. Both of them are tempo teams, even Wisconsin now. I know it's not what you used to see with Wisconsin. So there's 2 where 90 is definitely on the board. Would they get another one past that was the genesis of this question. You quickly said under.
I quickly said under because Saint Mary's in the next round would be a no 90 for me there.
It's probably an under, yes.
Yeah, if you survive that, you got to get to 90 in a high octane game. Okay. Then it's likely Duke in the Elite Eight, and you'd have to go 90 plus against Duke and Cooper Flagg and that good defensive team of Duke there. That would be, to win the game, got to at least get in the 80s to beat Duke. So I'm going to go under 2.5. I would have probably gone over 1.5. But I would have gone under 2.5.
Yeah, I think they'll get 2 at least. Now, if Vandy wins, you've got St. Mary's in this game already, but if Vandy wins, Alabama can definitely put 90 on Vandy. We've already seen that this year. Now, that wasn't Coleman Coliseum. It's going to be different trying to do it at a neutral site, but they got soft rims, I'm told.
Yes.
So I think Bama could do it on Vandy. That would be the other aspect there. And then you'd have 2 already, and then you get BYU or Wisconsin where 90 is on the board there. So that's why I told you there's different ways you could think through this.
Yeah, my biggest concern, Brownie, sorry about that.
That's
Tyler,
okay.
Is that they play more than 2.5 games. That's the first thing.
That was the other angle, yeah.
Yeah, you got to play more than 2.5 to go to get 90 in over 2.5.
Yeah. All right, there you go.
Fourth down.
Janai Broom against your guy Kalkbrenner in Creighton. If I put his combo points and boards over under 27.5. Combo points and boards for Janai Broom in round 2 over under 27.5 to help you here. His season average is 28, 10 boards, 18 points. So does he go over or under his season average?
Yeah. As my man Fuhrman likes to call him, Janai Broom.
Janai Broom.
I think Janai is good for 35 in a total there against Kalkbrenner. 24-11 is, I'm calling it now, 24 points, 11 rebounds. So 35 is a total. That's an easy over.
What about Johnny? What about Johnny Broom? Johnny Broom the same number?
Johnny Broom, not as mobile as Janae.
Yes.
Johnny Broom probably goes 22 and 12, still gets you to 34.
Yes.
And Janae Broom may go 30 and something.
That's a wild thing about Fuhrman. He can tell me the manager of Mount St. Mary's, but he can't say Janae Broom. I just did it. He can't say Janae Broom.
Yeah. I do remember when he first was on the radar and was coming to Auburn, we called him Johnny.
Yeah.
Johnny Broom.
Oh, it looks like that. Yeah, it does look like that.
Yeah.
All right, that is 4 Downs presented by Bojangles as Dunaway continues there in Cleveland. A reminder of Hemp Hill Services once again. They are the people we trust on this show, and we recommend you trust. If it is not flowing right, running right, whether it's HVAC, plumbing, it is our guys at Hemp Hill. They have been serving Birmingham for decades. It's the name you trust in Birmingham. It's the name we trust on this show at Hemp Hill Services, 229-2090. That's a 205 area code, or hemphillservices.com. Chad and the entire crew there. 229-2090. If it's not running right, flowing right, or draining right, Hemp Hill Services is your first call. We're about 45 minutes away from tip on the live show here as Dunaway continues in Cleveland. As we go to the top of the hour, Jim, you're gonna stay with us for a little bit there in the next hour before you head down to the court. Just some final thoughts before we go to the top of the hour. What are your final thoughts here on Alabama and Robert Morris?
I'm eager to get down there and start sending out some stuff for our social media folks. I've seen several pockets of Alabama fans walk by here. Truthfully, I don't know who all the teams are that are here. I haven't looked past the Saint Mary's Vandy, Alabama, Robert Morris. I don't know who's in the other hallway of locker rooms. Who else is here, Brown? Marquette's here in Cleveland, I think. I've seen some Marquette fans. Duke's not here, though, right? I saw some
Duke's in Raleigh. You saw Duke shirts? Yeah. You saw Duke shirts there?
Family of Dukes. Is Michigan State here? Are they in Cleveland?
You know what I don't like is when you ask me questions I don't know answers to.
That's the bad part about the pod system.
I know.
That, you end up with 2 or 3 different regions in one opening round site, and it gets a little confusing. But I've seen some Michigan State fans walking around here, so I think they play later today, but they're here for the early session. It's a mix. I love this time of year. I love being on the road. I got friends who go to Vegas every year. I love being out there because you see all the fan bases. But the arena is open here, and there are people grabbing lunch, grabbing cocktails, and they're ready to go for some basketball today, early morning basketball.
Yeah, don't forget you can play the Shannara Showdown right now at nextroundlive.com. UConn and Oklahoma. What was your play on that one, Dunaway? We're playing it at UConn -5. What was your play?
I am UConn giving the points today.
Okay.
It's not part of the Dunaway fade, but on the Shannara Showdown, I would go UConn. And I'm also interested in, do we have an updated bracket standings between the 3 of us? Have we done that?
Scott, do you know that? Scott can't pull it up, but if Scott knows it, or we can look it up in the break and have it for you in the next segment.
Yeah, I think I was 12-4.
Okay, I think I was 13-3. I'd have to go look.
Crap.
Oh crap!
Usually, yeah. I think this is one of those odd things. Like I think whoever's the day one leader ends up not finishing last. You don't necessarily win it, but I think day one leader never finishes last.
Yeah, unfortunately, that's what this has become for me. I just don't want to lose. I don't always. I mean, I play to win, but I just don't want to lose.
Well, that's always been my philosophy, and I played to win last year, and it burned me. And I do not have Auburn winning it all this year, but I got Florida winning it all. And I'm trying to remember my Final Four. I think my Final Four is Auburn, Florida, Houston, and Alabama.
Interesting. I am 14-2, Dunaway. I went 14-2 yesterday. Yeah, hot start for me. I know the games I missed too. I was going to confirm. Yeah, I missed both of them right in the same area. I had Clemson too. I just did not have them going as far as Lance did, which was the Final Four. And I had High Point upsetting Purdue. I went ahead and bid into High Point over Purdue, playing the old, there's always that early window upset. I know you probably didn't get to see much of that game. High Point hung in that game for a very long time. Purdue pulled away, basically around the under 4 right there, and High Point never could close the gap again. But Purdue would push it out to 6 or 8. High Point would cut it back to 3. Purdue would push it back out. High Point would cut it back to 3. They'd have ball in hand with a chance to tie, but they just could never get over the hump. It felt like one of those games. If they ever tied or got the lead, Purdue would have crumbled, but High Point never could do that.
It turns out, I know you said it a couple of times, and you have no way of knowing. And we have a rule in 16 years, never put anybody in a bad position, assuming they've seen anything.
Yeah.
But I amazingly was able to, only thing I missed was the first half, maybe the first half of the Louisville game, the Louisville Creighton game. Other than that, I saw every game yesterday. I was around the TV every day. I went to a great sports bar here, the Clevelander. So now I've stayed at the Clevelander Hotel and I've eaten at the Clevelander Sports Bar.
Yeah, it's the
two
double.
Very different parts of the country.
Yeah, very much, very much. You will not have the day you're experiencing at the Clevelander Hotel. I can promise you that.
Yeah. So, but I made it over there right after the shoot around, and then back to the hotel to watch Auburn. So I saw all of those games because we're direct TV in the hotel, and I had the direct TV quad box going.
Good for you.
And which was great. And then I watched the games while T and I did the post game show. And then I went to dinner at the Cleveland Chop House, where we got bar tables to eat our steaks and watch the games there. And then I went up to the Alabama Team Hotel and sat in the bar and watched all the TVs there. So I was around them all day long.
Good for you. That way. Well, yeah. I'm glad Dunaway's got that good vision. Michelson Laser Vision takes us to the top of the hour, 969-8100, to get that risk-free evaluation from Drs. Mark and Jennifer Michelson. They are pioneers in the business. That's a father-daughter team. They do great work there. You can call Amy and get on that schedule to have your evaluation to see if LASIK vision could work for you. Get that fighter pilot vision like Lance had. When they answer the phone, say, I want Lance Taylor's fighter pilot vision, 969-8100, or MichelsonLaserVision.com, MichelsonLaserVision.com. A few more minutes with Dunaway from Cleveland. EG joins me for trash. We got the Shannara College Football Spotlight right in the middle of the NCAA Tournament. A lot more to get to on the next round.
Follow Scott Forrester on Twitter at Scott Forrester TV.
I'm attorney Alexander Shannar, Alabama born, Alabama raised, and ready to fight for your rights. I have one of the largest firms in Alabama, and we are here to help you get the compensation you deserve. Call me, Alabama, 323-1000.
No representation is made that the quality of legal services being performed is greater than those of other lawyers.
Remember the name Way to Wellness if you're battling weight loss in your life. I'm Jim Dunaway from the next round. There was a time I was over 216 pounds until Way to Wellness helped me lose 45 pounds, and now for over 2 years, they've helped me keep that weight off. Here's their website, aplanforme.com, aplanforme.com. That's a great name for a website because there's no cookie cutter plan. Everything is designed specifically for you. No contract, no sign-up fees, and your first consultation is free at Way to Wellness.
Looking for a great place for that boring meeting? Leave the office and go to the Golfus. What about corporate events like board meetings, sales meetings, customer appreciation events? How about the Golfus? Watch parties for football and basketball, parties for birthdays or couple showers. The Golfus is a great place for those. The Golfus has Birmingham's best golf simulators and man caves in Vestavia on Highway 31, opening soon in Trussville and on Highway 280. Bring whatever you want to eat or drink, even bring your own clubs. Get out of the office. Go to the Golfus. Book your spot now at thegolfus.com.
Hey friends, if you're looking to expand your business and inform the Next Round audience about your exciting brand, contact us at sales@nextroundlive.com to be part of the team and advertise your product to hundreds of thousands of potential consumers on our ever-expanding platform. Let the Next Round help take your business to the next level. Get more information by emailing us at sales@nextroundlive.com, and one of our team members will work with you to build a plan to take your business to the next level with the Next Round. What a great time of year to be online with our friends at MyBookie.ag, MyBookie.ag, where right now you get a major current sign-up bonus, a 50% deposit bonus up to $1,000, plus a $10 casino chip when using the code NEXTROUND. That's code NEXTROUND. We're talking about all the madness of March, the NBA playoff race, the start of Major League Baseball, and it's all for you right now online when using the code NEXTROUND. Go sign up today, MyBookie.ag, code NEXTROUND.
Stop by the New York Butcher Shop and pick up the finest in certified Angus prime beef steaks and burgers, premium pork chops, ribs, and all-natural chicken cut to order just for you. Their chef-prepared entrees and side dishes are the perfect dinner-to-go choice for your family and are ready to heat at home. With a great selection of fine wines and desserts, the New York Butcher Shop is your one-stop dinner shop. 2 locations to serve you, Cahaba Heights and on Highway 119 in Greystone. The New York Butcher Shop. Rare quality, well-done service.
When you crave activity like we do, you belong in the Roback family. Get the best golf wear, hoodies, and activewear for men and women at Roback.com. Use promo code TNR20 to get 20% off your order. That's Roback.com, promo code TNR20.
The World Wide Web is a large place. Find all your favorite people and content in the same spot. NextRoundLive.com is full of wonderful tidbits about the show you know and love. Find our gear, listen to your favorite personalities, follow our socials, and enjoy your trip to NextRoundLive.com.
It's bow time. Tired of choosing between sweet and savory? Why not have both? Introducing Bojangles' new chicken and bowberry waffles. The bold Cajun chicken filet you love, now drizzled with a bowberry honey glaze and sandwiched between 2 warm waffles. Which means your favorite meal of the day just met your new favorite dish. And lucky for you, it's served all day. But it's only here for a limited time, so try chicken and bowberry waffles at Bojangles today. It's bow time.
I'm attorney Alexander Shinar, Alabama born, Alabama raised, and ready to fight for your rights. I have one of the largest firms in Alabama, and we are here to help you get the compensation you deserve. Call me, Alabama, 323-1000.
Your representation is made that the quality of legal services being performed is greater than those of other lawyers.
Jim Dunaway, Lance Taylor, Ryan Brown. Live from the Birmingham Racecourse Casino Studios, the next round, presented by Bud Light, is on now.
All right, sprint to the finish here on the next round. We're going to wrap up just before Alabama tips for the day. The NCAA Tournament itself about to tip with Mississippi State. Dunaway in Cleveland is going to hang with us for just a few moments. Remember, this is the Champions Hour. Champions world famous fried chicken. Our guy Sterling and his crew at Champions have just thrown the door open. They'll have the games on the TVs there. Go enjoy that great, juicy fried chicken. What do you like, Dunaway? What do you like there? Say it very loud. What do you like there at Champions? Say it very loud in the lobby there in Cleveland.
Yeah, for everyone here at the Rocket Arena, I love 2 big breasts, that white meat,
Yeah.
all the wonderful sides. It's brined overnight, cooked to order. It is absolutely America's meal right there at Champy's world famous fried chicken, Highway 119 in Alabaster. Go by and salute Sterling for serving them up.
That's right. Sterling and the crew at Champions. Jim going to be with us for about 5 minutes here. He's about to head down to the floor as Alabama gets ready to take on Robert Morris. Mississippi State about to tip against Baylor. The SEC is 4-3, Dunaway. 4-2 yesterday, 4-3 overall. Just quick blush on these SEC games today. Mississippi State, Baylor. You like State?
Do you like State? That's a close game, losable game though for Mississippi State. I just think in this contest, Christian's defense will beat this Baylor team in a close one at the end. I like the Bulldogs.
All right. St. Mary's and Vanderbilt. I think I've heard you enough to know you like St. Mary's in this one.
I do. This Vanderbilt team has not impressed me all year. They have a couple of good wins at home, but seeing them in person away from the Opry stage there in Nashville, I like St. Mary's defense in this one. They're a lot more disciplined than Vandy is. But if Vandy wins this game, Alabama fans, consider that a blessing. That would be a good sign for the Crimson Tide.
Well, I have not seen you worry about a team more than you've worried about St. Mary's. You are worried about St. Mary's, the Gaels.
But for those that are just joining us, that was 2 weeks before Selection
No
Sunday.
doubt.
I
Yeah.
said the one team that I do not want to see on Alabama's side would be St. Mary's, and here we are.
All right. You like Alabama to win. Do they score 100? And do they cover the number of 22.5, 21.5, depending on where you get it?
I don't think they cover. I do think they get to 90. I can see them coming in around 96. This would be a 96-78 Alabama win.
Okay. Kentucky, Troy. Kentucky's 11.5-point favorite over the Trojans of Troy.
Kentucky wins this one. Lamont Butler, I think I got his last name correctly.
You did. Yep.
If he can play a whole game healthy, then this Kentucky team isn't that bad. Williams, the size on the inside, I think Amari Williams is his name. Inside will be the difference in this one. This Troy team came out of very competitive Sun Belt. They played great basketball there. This game will be close for a while. I like Kentucky in the end. Do not really have enough faith in them to cover the 11.5, though.
You've already mentioned UConn and Oklahoma. You like UConn in that game over Oklahoma.
I like UConn, but so much so that could be competitive. I did not play. Didn't play that game because Spears, I think, is that talented. You see this in the NCAA tournament, especially the first round, Brown, sometimes. Superstars who will have a superstar day. Some people wilt under the pressure. One guy could go out and have a superstar type day, and Spears has that in him. That would be enough to give Oklahoma the win in this one. But I think in the end that Dan Hurley's team's more put together to win a tournament game than Oklahoma is.
So you've got 2 losses thus far. You think Oklahoma falls and Vanderbilt falls. Florida will beat Norfolk State. Do you think Florida hits 100? The point spread's 28.5. Do they hit 100 and do they cover?
I like them. I like them at sort of like Alabama. I'd like them 96, 76, but I don't think they get a cover. I think they win it by like 20, 22. What's their line? 28.5?
28.5, yeah.
Yeah, 28.5, did you say?
28.5, yep.
Yeah, I can see them winning by 22, 24. Norfolk State will hang around for a little bit, but Florida's deep, and they got to rest some players along the way deep late in that one. Backdoor cover for Norfolk State.
Tricky game. North Carolina, the 11 seed, straight out of Dayton, is favored over Ole Miss. Who you like there?
I'm playing Ole Miss on the Fade Dunaway line. I just think Chris Beard will have his team ready to go, but that team struggles to play consistently like about everybody in the mid-tier of those great SEC teams did against elite competition. The question now is, we've seen Auburn beat North Carolina. We saw Alabama beat North Carolina pretty handily on North Carolina's own floor. I think in the end, this will be the flex moment for the SEC, this Ole Miss over North Carolina. If Ole Miss wins this game today over North Carolina, then you can say, look, that's very mid SEC this year against a North Carolina team that is one of 2 still standing in the ACC. And we see these 11s win these play-in games and come and win a game in the main part of the bracket all the time. And that's why North Carolina's favored. They've got star power. I just think in the end, Dia with a big game and Chris Beard's coaching ability to design something to take the stars of North Carolina out of the mix. Ole Miss barely in that contest.
All right, before you go, Auburn Creighton tomorrow. The Tigers a 9.5-point favorite. Do we get a better version of Auburn? How do you see that one playing out tomorrow? 6:10 start time on TBS and truTV.
I hate to comment so adamantly about this because people always think I'm just trying to landmine them. But I've said this since before the bracket came out. Auburn's 3-point defense is so elite, and Creighton, even though they got a true 7-footer inside, 7'1" Paul Printer, they live on shooting some outside shots. And Auburn's perimeter defense will be the difference in this game. You'll see a different Auburn team in this contest. I won't say it'll be an easy win for Auburn, but I like Auburn making it to the second weekend, beating Creighton on the backs of their elite defense. You don't talk enough about Auburn's defense. That's where it'll show up tomorrow in that game. Auburn wins it with an elite defense.
All right, so follow us at Next Round Live. Dunaway's about to send out some pregame stuff from there in Cleveland. At Next Round Live, set your alerts on YouTube. Always make sure you give us a subscription. Subscribe to us and set your alerts so you know when we're live on YouTube. Dunaway and Little T with a post-game show probably an hour-ish after Alabama goes final. Once Jim takes care of all the locker room stuff and gets that sent out, you guys, about an hour after the end of the game, you and Little T will be live.
Yeah, absolutely. And with the basketball show, thanks to Culver's and March Madness Women's Basketball coming to Birmingham, you said it would be about 45 minutes to an hour afterwards. I'll be in the locker room after the game with Alabama players. We'll send that up instantly to you so you get instant reaction from the locker room. Even before I'm out of the locker room, you'll have it for us at Next Round Live there on Twitter. So go follow us there. And then at the same time, Taylor will be in the Auburn locker room at Rupp Arena as their shoot-around is closed. And then we'll have that later for you this afternoon. So we'll both be doing interviews in the locker room about the same time, and then we'll get together and do comments about the Alabama show and allowing you guys to make your comments there.
Wow. Man, you guys are going to be busy today.
Yeah.
Enjoy. Yeah, I know. Enjoy the game, Dunaway, and we'll see you guys afterwards. Hey, have a good weekend. Safe travels. I'll see you back here Monday, but enjoy the game.
Okay, man. God bless you and God bless America.
Yes, that's right. Not quite the end of the show just yet. Yes, thank you. All right, see you, Dunaway. Jim Dunaway headed down to the court for Alabama and Robert Morris. You can catch more of that. A reminder, all the point spreads I just gave you, I'm going to run through them again here. MyBookie.ag, code next round. MyBookie.ag, code next round. That code next round is going to get you a 50% sign-on bonus when you register there at MyBookie.ag and make your initial deposit. 50% sign-on bonus up to $1,000. Plus, you will also get a $10 casino chip. $10 casino chip there at MyBookie.ag, code next round. MyBookie.ag, code next round. Mississippi State about to tip against Baylor. If you're listening to us live and not on the replay, State a 1-point favorite. It's down to 1. Basically a coin flip between State and Baylor. Alabama, a 21.5-point favorite just before their tip. Iowa State, a 14-point favorite over Lipscomb. Memphis is the higher-seeded team, the better-seeded team. They are 1.5-point dog, though, in that 5-12 matchup against Colorado State. Colorado State, the 12 there. Duke, a massive favorite over Mount St. Mary's. Not St. Mary's, who Alabama might face, but Mount St. Mary's. Duke, a 32-point favorite over them. It is the Gaels of Saint Mary's, a 4.5-point favorite over Vanderbilt. North Carolina, a 1.5-point favorite over Ole Miss. Maryland, a 10-point favorite over Grand Canyon. Florida, a 28-point favorite over Norfolk State. Kentucky, an 11.5-point favorite over Troy. Marquette, favored by 4 over New Mexico. Arizona, 14.5-point favorite over Akron. It is UConn, a 6-point favorite over Oklahoma tonight. That's our Shannara Showdown game. You get that at nextroundlive.com. Pick against the point spread at the Shannara Showdown. If you hit that one, you are in the drawing. All you got to do is win one. You can play all of them. Win them all. You got a bunch of entries in the drawing, but win one and you're in. Playing for up to $1,000. We're paying 3 spots. We'll draw 3 times. Paying $1,000 to the overall winner there. Shannara Showdown. Play every one of those games tonight. It is UConn. We locked it in early, so we're going to play it at UConn -5. It's up to 6 right now, but once we lock that in, we don't move it. So that's at nextroundlive.com to play the Shannara Showdown. That will be every single tournament day moving forward, so keep your eyes out for the Shannara Showdown there. It is Illinois, a 3.5-point favorite over Xavier today. Michigan State, a 17-point favorite over Bryant. And the late night game, Oregon playing the Liberty Flames tonight. Oregon, a 7-point favorite over that one. Just a couple of games of note. Tomorrow, St. John's, a 7-point favorite. And over Arkansas from the SEC. Tennessee, a 4.5-point favorite over UCLA. And I mentioned to Jim that Auburn is a 9.5-point favorite over Creighton. All right, so all those games right there at MyBookie.ag, code next round. MyBookie.ag, code next round. McNeese pulled the early upset of the tournament, a 12-5 win. They dominated most of that game against Clemson. Clemson made a late run. This goes against what we talk about a lot of times on the show, freeing it up. When a coach is taking another job and his team seems disinterested. Will Wade has done this differently, though. Will Wade has been open about the process. Everybody knows he's taken the NC State job, but he's still coaching McNeese, and he's coaching them into another game as they play Purdue next. And Will Wade was asked about that yesterday, his approach to being so open about taking this job and how it has not affected his team at all. Here is the McNeese State coach.
Coach, just talk about your kind of emotions for the last 24 hours.
I mean, I've been focused on the game. I mean, they'll tell you. I mean, I've been on one about the game. I mean, so whatever else is happening, that's of no distraction to us. I know everybody else. I mean, thinks that there's distractions and stuff. We operate the same way all the time, and so we hadn't operated any differently. The walkthrough hadn't been. I mean, nothing's been any different. So, I mean, there hadn't been a lot of emotion. It's been narrow focus. The bigger the game, the narrower your focus, and it's been absolute narrow focus on winning our first NCAA tournament game at McNeese State. I mean, we've broken every record in the book. This was the last one to get. We want to keep this going.
Excuse me, I had to cough there. The guy knows how to win games, and we have seen that from Will Wade. We'll see if he can do it there at NC State as well, but his run's not finished in the tournament right now, obviously. Here's Bruce Pearl, the Auburn head coach, after yesterday's win. We played you early on Stephen Pearl, a couple of sound bites from him on the Auburn Sports Network postgame show where he was extremely critical, called it an embarrassing performance by his team where he's the associate head coach. We played Dylan Cardwell, who said the same thing. In the interview, Stephen Pearl calling out by name Chad Baker-Mazara and Janai Broome. He was doing the interview because in the NCAA tournament, the head coach goes to the podium. Here's Auburn's head coach, Bruce Pearl. He knew they would play Creighton, and he saw what they did against Alabama State and what Auburn would need against Creighton that they didn't have against Alabama State. Let's start that one over, Tyler. That's on me. Auburn coach Bruce Pearl on what they will need against Creighton that they didn't have against Alabama State. I got it right that time.
We didn't play our best, but I think they had a lot to do with it, and so I just give them a great deal of credit. Miles was terrific. Tahad was terrific at times. Janai dominated on the inside when he had to, but we can play. Trust me, we can play, and we'll need to play a lot better.
That is Bruce Pearl, the Auburn head coach. They're a 9.5-point favorite coming up Saturday in primetime on TNT and truTV 610 tip for that game. We're about to go to break. We're going to go back. EG is going to join me for trash, and then we'll wrap the show before Alabama tips against Robert Morris. Don't forget the golf is, though. It is Birmingham's destination for the best golf simulators. You can find them at the Golfist. Great place to have some fun, have some social time, hang out with the buddies. It is affordable. They got TVs in all the bays, so you can watch all the tournament action while participating on the golf simulators there at the Golfist. 3 great locations as well. Vestavia, Trussville, and brand new right there on Highway 280 near Pink Package Store and Ming's. The Golfist Birmingham, or thegolfist.com in Birmingham. To book a bay or to find out more information, if you want to come to Birmingham and participate from out of town, you're welcome there too. Thegolfist.com, thegolfist.com. Go enjoy some time with the friends at the Golfist. Trash is next on the next round.
Take the next round anywhere you go with official Next Round gear. Buy yours today at nextround.store.
I'm attorney Alexander Shinar, Alabama born, Alabama raised, and ready to fight for your rights. I have one of the largest firms in Alabama, and we are here to help you get the compensation you deserve. Call me, Alabama, 323-1000.
No representation is made that the quality of legal services being performed is greater than those of other lawyers.
Storm season is here. Make sure you have a plan of action in place right now. Greg from Pell City and Storm Restoration Roofing should be your first call when storms hit. Insurance companies love working with Storm Restoration Roofing because of Greg Nelson's name and reputation in the industry. When storms hit, call Greg Nelson. He's local, 205-542-3531. He's the home of the free no-cost roof inspection. Greg from Pell City on Facebook, 205-542-3531. It's Storm Restoration Roofing.
Hey, there's nothing worse than waking up to a plumbing problem. Don't get caught in a flooded house. Call the guys at Hemp Hill Services. Adam, Chad, and the team at Hemp Hill are the only ones I trust to fix it and fix it right the first time. Hemp Hill Services does it right and always at a fair price. For all of your plumbing, cooling, and heating needs, trust the name that Birmingham has trusted since 1954. That is Hemp Hill Services. Call now, 205-229-2090. That's 205-229-2090.
If renting is putting a dent in your bank account, here's your sign from the universe that it's time to buy a new home. And who better to help you through the ins and outs of home buying than our friends at Mortgage Right. With Mortgage Right, you don't have to worry about becoming a short notice mortgage expert because they do all the heavy lifting for you. They're trusted mortgage professionals and they'll help you choose the right mortgage option and stand by your side every step of the way. Visit mortgageright.com/TNR to buy before renting runs you dry. That's mortgageright.com/TNR. NMLS 2239, Equal Housing Lender. Man, I love a good meal. I'm Jim Dunaway. A good meal is what you get with my friend Sterling at Champy's Chicken on Highway 119 in Alabaster. We're talking great southern fried chicken, wonderful sides, hand-cut chicken fingers, po' boys, and those Mississippi Delta recipe tamales. You got a perfect menu for everybody. Champy's Chicken is perfect for watching the big game or taking a meal to the lake house, down to the coast, or stay in the restaurant and dine in a great atmosphere. It's all made fresh to order right there on 119 in Alabaster, Champy's Chicken.
Hey, let me tell you about our friends at Urology Centers of Alabama. Compassionate and comprehensive urological care with 35 physicians, 17 locations across Alabama. Their patient-centered approach to all of your urological needs. Remember, they've got that new men's health center. It is beautiful, helping men with a wide range of sensitive male issues in a comfortable environment. You can always go online, visit urologycentersalabama.com, schedule an appointment with one of their many urologists today.
Celebrate the best time of year, tournament time, with MyBookie.ag. Sign up right now with code NEXTROUND and receive a 50% deposit bonus up to $1,000, plus a $10 casino chip. Tournament time is here, so enjoy it even more by playing along at MyBookie.ag. Bet anything, anytime, anywhere with MyBookie.ag. Use code NEXTROUND on your initial deposit for a 50% deposit bonus up to $1,000, plus a $10 casino chip. Don't get caught by the buzzer. Sign up now at MyBookie.ag, code NEXTROUND.
Twin Peaks is the best in the game. Here, you're in the red zone for every college rivalry and divisional matchup all season long. I mean, where else are the scenic views as good as your view of the game? Only at Twin Peaks, the #1 sports bar.
This hour of The Next Round is presented by the Birmingham Racecourse Casino, now featuring 7 days of giveaways with your chance to win a share of up to $125,000. The more you visit the Birmingham Racecourse Casino, the more chances you have to win.
I'm attorney Alexander Shinar, Alabama born, Alabama raised, and ready to fight for your rights. I have one of the largest firms in Alabama, and we are here to help you get the compensation you deserve. Call me, Alabama, 323-1000.
No representation is made that the quality of legal services being performed is greater than those of other lawyers.
All right, we continue on the next round. EG has jumped in studio with me. Hello, EG. How are
Hello,
you?
guys. It's been a minute.
I know. You've been at the Players' Championship and all that. How was the Players' Championship?
It was excellent. Great weather. I'm actually wearing my little pullover I got.
Yeah.
Fabulous as always. I love golf. You love golf.
I do love golf. I've never been to the Players, so I've been at that course, but I've never been to that tournament. I hear it's a fun event.
It's fun. It's very low stress. My grandma lives down there, so it's easy. It's just the course is beautiful. And then 16, 17, and 18 are so iconic. It's always good finishes. And so I love it. We do it every year for my birthday. And my gift to my family is taking them along for the ride.
Oh, how about that? That's just giving back, EG.
What can I say?
Don't forget, severe weather in the South is a thing this time of year. Unfortunately, it can pop up when you least expect it. It is why Alabama Power is always ready with the tech and know-how to get your power back on fast. With tools to prevent outages and a team on call 24/7, they are there to keep you safe and in the loop. You can stay ahead, too. Head to alabamapower.com/storm for storm safety tips, how to report an outage, and how to stay updated when storms are coming. That's alabamapower.com/storm. Stay safe with Alabama Power. Did you, in fact, fill out a bracket? And now you're not subject to the punishment, but you did do a bracket.
I did 9.
9 yesterday?
Yesterday.
Oh, 9 brackets?
9 brackets.
Oh, why would you do 9?
So this is my strategy. I have a few that remain in the rotation every year. I do what mascot would win in a fight. So I pair them up, and then it just determines who would win.
All right, Vanderbilt Commodores versus the Saint Mary's Gaels.
I had the Gaels winning because
what is a Gael?
It's like a Viking.
A Gael's a Viking?
It's kind of Irish.
Yeah.
Like the Irish people are called Gaelic.
Yeah.
Gaelic people, okay.
Yeah. So I just felt like that was pretty good.
Gotcha.
And then I have my favorite color wins.
Okay.
So same concept. Typically that ends with Duke, North Carolina, or Ole Miss winning.
Right. All right. So we got Mississippi State right here in front of us playing Baylor. What'd you go with in this game? Favorite color wins. So you don't like green and gold?
Green or green
or yellow. Okay.
Green or yellow. And then I do a real one, of course. Like,
the one the actual teams you think will win. Okay.
I do a chaos one where I just pick like the under, basically. I do a lucky number 7 every year.
What is lucky number 7?
Just the 7th bracket I fill out.
Well, what do you use to determine
kind of
the winners?
more serious for that one.
All
and
right.
then I do a just kind of click around where I kind of close my eyes and just kind of click around.
All right.
And then I do a few random ones.
Yeah.
And so far, my real one, the only ones I've missed was I had Kansas beating Arkansas.
All right.
And Georgia failed me and lost. So those are my only 2 games that I've dropped so far.
Wow. I mean,
Not
that's
bad.
impressive. That is not bad. So your real bracket is your best bracket?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I feel pretty good about it.
No, that's how I had 14-2. That's what I was yesterday.
Okay.
So, yeah. What is your next best one? Do you know?
I can look real quick. I want to say it's not the mascot one at all. I know that much. And I don't think my favorite color is winning either. I think it might be lucky number 7. Let me pull it up.
Lucky number 7. Now,
my neighborhood bracket with my family and the neighborhood kid back in Atlanta. He wanted to join. So we did a little neighborhood bracket.
All right. How old's the neighborhood kid?
He is 13?
Yeah.
$10 buy-in, winner takes all.
Wow,
I know.
13-year-old with the $10.
I know.
Give me a gambling early.
Yeah, and then I got lucky number
taking kids'
7.
lunch
I
money.
know, taking a lunch money from a kid.
Listen, I was invited to it. He
Yeah.
set the pricing. But yeah, the real one is in the 98th percentile of brackets.
Oh, look at you.
Thank you.
Anyway, 14-2.
Yeah.
EG and day one. And you have been proclaimed by a lot of people on this staff as an expert on spray tans.
Yes.
So Lance is,
I need
at
one.
least right now, trending towards a spray tan.
Yeah.
Is this going to be unpleasant for him if he's never done it before?
No, I mean, I am really thrilled that I get to kind of take point on this.
Yeah, this is gonna be
in
you.
the terms of, organizing this event.
Right.
I personally think that Lance, out of the three of you guys, will enjoy this the most, and I could see him, making this a regular maintenance, if you will, to have a spray
What if
tan.
Lance falls in love with spray tans all
He
of a sudden?
might.
Yes.
He might. I've always said that everything looks better tan.
Yeah.
Little self-confidence.
No, I agree
boost.
100% with you on that. Yeah.
So yeah, I think you guys will be just fine. Spray tanning has evolved over the last
Okay.
few years.
All right.
I do think we will be able to get a nice Cheeto shade of orange.
That's what we're after.
It will take some work
Yep.
because, like I said, they've evolved a lot, but I'm willing to put all my resources towards this.
Oh, thank you. All her resources. Yes.
I was a weekly spray tanner in college. Had a woman that would come to my house. Southern Mist spray tanning. It was incredible. And so I'm very familiar with this.
Southern Mist, not Southern Mist.
Southern
not like
Mist.
Not like the school, though.
Yeah.
If they were in Hattiesburg, it's a great name for a spray tan. Yeah, Southern Mist.
Good old Shannon come to my house
Yeah.
in the living room, set up the spray tan tent.
That's pretty remarkable,
It was
right there.
awesome.
All right, I wanted EG in here for this too. The Shannara Spotlight, weekly or daily, college football spotlight we do every single day. We've got video for this one that Scott dug up. Tyler, if you do not mind, please hit it.
The College Football Spotlight.
Presented by our guy Alexander Shannara, trial attorneys, national firm, Southern Roots, headquartered right here in Birmingham. 24 years, the firm has grown to more than 150 lawyers, supported by more than 500 dedicated team members. Their elite trial lawyers have recovered more than $2 billion, maintaining Alexander's core values of integrity, mastery, passion, and success. If you find yourself in need of a lawyer, call the Alexander Shannara trial attorneys. You pay nothing unless they win your case. We saw the photos of Bill Belichick and his girlfriend on the beach, her doing the airplane, right?
We did.
Like I used to do with my daughters when they were like 5.
Yeah.
And they would put their stomach on my feet, and I would pick them up like they were Superman. We called it Superman, not airplane. We now, apparently, Scott, have video of the whole setup before this. The video has now come out.
No.
Here we go. So now, to start with, we've got feet on butt.
Oh, yikes.
Yeah. Now,
Yikes.
two things I'm going to take away from this. Belichick's lower body strength is not bad.
But her core strength is pretty dang good.
That was the other takeaway. She's got pretty good core strength, too.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, Bill Belichick has changed so much.
My stable rock.
I was about to point that out, EG.
How
I was about to
tender.
say, all right. I was going to say cringy, but tender too. That works.
I say that with sarcasm dripping in it.
Yeah.
Very
Right.
tender.
My stable
Wow.
rock, yeah.
I mean, that's just a choice. I want to know whose idea that was.
Of the two, I
My
think I
money's
can
on
guess.
not Belichick.
I'm gonna think the 20-some-odd-year-old, very nice-looking young lady had the idea. Yeah.
Yeah, I'd love to know the conversation that took place and then the camera setup too. How many takes did it take them?
Yeah, I have no earthly idea. I had only seen the photographic evidence. I had not seen the video until this point here. But again, I'll say there's 20 years worth of New England Patriot players that are like, where was this girl when I was a Patriot?
Agreed.
Yeah, I mean, could she not have been born a decade earlier when I was playing for this guy?
Probably would have mellowed them out slightly.
You would have to think. Jay Bake says, is that how they met? Tinder? I don't think so.
I don't know. Have we heard how they met?
I have no earthly idea.
This is journalism right here.
I think I've heard a story, but I can't remember the story of how they actually met.
We'll look into it.
Yeah. That is the Shannara Spotlight. Before we go to trash, a reminder about our guy, Dr. B, Dr. Beckettstein. He does tremendous work. He's growing my hair back. He's growing Lance's hair back. And it is really quite simple. You start with going to see Dr. B, and when you go see him, you're going to get that evaluation where they're going to do some genetic testing to make sure you're getting the right treatment and make sure that everything is just right for you. they're not doing something that is cookie cutter. They're not just doing something that is the same that everybody gets. You go in, you spend time with Dr. B and his staff, you make sure what is the right treatment for you, and your hair grows back. Listen, he's not afraid to tell you if it's not going to work for you. He's going to be honest with you. But let me tell you, there are so many of you that have used Dr. B that are getting great results, and you give us the feedback, and we really do appreciate it. So just start it yourself. Go to T3hair.net. T3hair.net for T3 hair restoration and our guy, Dr. B, and start growing your hair back the natural way with T3hair.net.
So I've got the Bill Belichick meet cute, if you guys want to hear it.
Yes.
Meet cute? What?
How they met. The moment, the meet cute. They bump into another coffee shop.
EG knows what's up.
Okay.
Yeah.
I have, I got a 20-year-old daughter. I normally stay up on these phrases. I did not know that
I
one.
feel like this is an older phrase. And
I think it is,
That's
too.
why.
Yeah,
Maybe
I
it
think you're
fell
so
through
young.
the generation.
Yeah.
I am. I'm so young. All right, so what's the meet cute, Tyler?
All right, so they were sitting next to each other on a flight from Boston to Florida
happens
in
a lot.
February 2021.
Yep.
And she was reading a philosophy textbook called Deductive Logic and asked Bill Belichick to sign it. Bill Belichick signed the book with a playful note, "Thanks for giving me a course on logic." And the two stayed friends after the initial counter
Here's my
and
cell
became
number.
romantic after he split from his wife.
Okay.
Yeah.
There it
a
is.
little addendum at the end of the story. After. Of course, it was after he
Stayed
split from her.
friends.
Yes.
Nothing
They were
crazy.
just friends.
Okay. Well, a
Okay.
flight in a book. Yeah, it happens a lot, flight in a book. All right, it's time for Trash. EG's going to present it today. I said it very British. EG, our trash presenter today. Tyler, if you would not mind, hit that big button. Dale Decker.
Father of two, Dale Decker, suffers from a rare and seemingly incurable condition that leads to him suffering up to 100 unwanted orgasms a day.
LT's Trash is presented by Mortgage Right. Mortgages done the right way.
Veteran-owned, veteran-operated. Our friends at Mortgage Right are the place to go. If you are a United States veteran, they've got great programs for you. But even if you're not, Mortgage Right's the place to start. MortgageRight.com/TNR when it comes time to sell your home, to buy a new home, to refinance your home. Start with our friends at Mortgage Right. MortgageRight.com/TNR. EG.
All right, this one's a little unique. Father arrested after he allegedly sold Grand Champion bacon at a West Virginia ham, bacon, and egg show. A few questions off the bat.
All right, fire away.
I'm not sure what Grand Champion bacon is, and I did not know they had ham, bacon, and egg shows.
So it's going to be a bacon contest where they won the contest, obviously, the grand champion. I don't know. This is a kind of a polarizing discussion on the show. I'm not the biggest bacon fan in the world. I like bacon, don't love bacon.
Kind of overpowers some things.
It does. I like bacon as an accessory, not as like my main meat for breakfast.
For sure.
Yeah.
Agreed.
So yeah, that's kind of where I am on bacon.
So it says officials say the Grand Champion bacon was sold at the Marshall County sale on March 4th, 2025 for $935. Standard procedure dictated that the bacon be brought back to the school for cutting for the buyer.
Right.
During the investigation, officials reviewed surveillance footage, and the video allegedly showed Lucy removing the Grand Champion bacon from the sold box and placing it on another table.
Oh.
He then allegedly removed the tag from this bacon, selected a replacement from the meat lab, attached the tag to the spare bacon after making a hole for it.
So this guy loves his bacon. Like he's going to steal the best part and replace it with something that's not the contest winner.
I guess so. So then it says Lucy returned the swapped bacon to the sold box, ensuring it was covered, and then tagged the original Grand Champion student's bacon with another student's tag.
Yeah. King MJ is right. I do like my bacon limp.
Oh, no. Extra crispy.
Nope. I'm the exact opposite. I like it.
Ugh.
The best way for bacon to be prepared is smoked.
Yeah.
Smoked bacon is the best bacon. The deep fried bacon and all that, not my thing.
All right, the next one, I kind of relate to this. Florida man on motor cart charged after he was spotted eating shrimp and Snickers at Publix store. I love Snickers. I feel like this is pretty common knowledge up here. I eat one like every day, almost. And this man apparently have charged 54-year-old DeLand man with second-degree petty theft after he was seen helping himself to both at a Publix store in the Villages.
Snickers is something I like. Is this the guy that stole the Snickers there? Why do we have shrimp behind him? Is there shrimp at the store?
Shrimp and bacon. And Snickers.
I was about to say, we got bacon at two stores now. Shrimp and Snickers together. Ooh. Is this is it an indication he ate it together?
I don't know.
Because that's a disgusting combination.
That's awful.
Yeah.
So it says, according to Click Orlando, the alleged theft is said to have occurred on the afternoon of Friday, March 14th. The arrest report stated that upon arrival, the deputies learned that Launderell Harris was seen attempting to discard a pack of shrimp after initially opening it. An employee went and verified the discarded package was a Publix product. They continued watching Harris, who is traveling in a motorized chair.
Yeah, it's going to be tough to get away from the cops in that. Snickers, not my favorite candy bar. It's a basic candy bar.
Oh, it's so good.
Can take it or leave it.
It's like a complete meal, though. You get a little protein, a carb, a sugar.
You do get a lot of things in that. That's a
You
good
do.
point you make there. I had not thought through it like that. The nutritional value of Snickers.
You know, we did omit the fact that this was in the Villages. Isn't that the...
Well, that's a retirement community,
Yeah.
I think. I mean, it's largely a retirement community. I don't know that you have to be retired to live there or old or whatever.
Apparently a ton of golf carts go through that place.
They do, yep. I've seen the golf cart parade.
Yeah. All right, moving
Especially during
on.
election season, it's big.
Yes,
it seems.
yes.
Yes.
So this is kind of sad because this is involves my favorite airport, Hartsfield-Jackson.
Yeah, hometown girl, the Georgia
Hometown,
Peach, EG.
Atlanta. Passenger bitten on St. Patrick's Day flight to California.
Wow.
Authorities were called to LAX on St. Patrick's Day after a man allegedly bit a passenger on a flight to California. So a flight coming from Atlanta to LAX. We were responding to reports from Delta staff about an adult male patient who has been restrained on the aircraft. Reports from staff were that the person had bit another person.
I mean, that's a long flight if I got to sit next to somebody that bit me until we get to LAX.
Right.
Like if he bit me over Mississippi.
I mean, you're in it for the long haul.
Yeah, I mean, that's a long way to go.
So from what I've heard, so my boyfriend's mom is a Delta flight attendant. And apparently she does not work LAX Atlanta flights because it is the most chaotic flight ever.
Really?
Yes.
That's
she
interesting.
refuses to do Atlanta to LAX.
Huh.
Because the characters you get are a little unique.
I've made that flight and I did not notice anything
Really?
different. Yeah. Well, I made it the other way, LAX back to Atlanta.
After the Rose Bowl.
Well, I've done it numerous
Yeah.
times. The most recent would have been after the Rose Bowl, yeah. I also did it one time just coming home from LA with my family, and it was a complete disaster when we got to Atlanta.
Really?
Well, storms had shut the airport down, and all the flights had gotten canceled, and it took us 6 hours to get a rental car to drive back to Birmingham, only to get back to Birmingham and see Dr. Michelson.
Yes.
Mark Michelson, Dr. Michelson leads their vision. He was telling the same story, and I'm like, I was in the airport too, Dr. Michelson. And he's like, oh, yeah, we just went out and got an Uber. We were back in Birmingham in like 2 hours and only cost me whatever. And I was like,
Oh, no.
that would have been a much better idea than what I did.
Yeah. I don't know. I've been on that flight and Lil Baby, the rapper, was
Yeah.
on it.
Oh,
and not to defame him, but he left his little area first class a mess.
Oh, did he now?
Yes.
Yeah.
A mess.
All right.
Okay. Places in the world you are forbidden to enter.
All right.
Let me know if you guys would go to any of these places.
Dunaway's brain. Okay, go ahead.
The Lascaux Caves. These caves in France feature a number of paintings on the walls dating back to the Paleolithic era. They have since been closed to the public to prevent the art's condition from deteriorating further.
Huh.
Interesting.
Yeah, and really not much interest in
I
that.
don't really think I
Wouldn't-
wanna
Yeah, you can
venture
forbid me
in.
for that one. I don't really want to go.
The Vatican Secret Archives. The Vatican
Well, I've
Archives.
heard a lot about this.
I've heard a lot of conspiracy theories about
Yeah,
this.
there are a lot of conspiracies about this.
The documents within are considered property of the Pope, with ownership passing to each successor. It reportedly contains all documents acquired by the Church over the years, and conspiracy theorists say secret information about the Holy Grail and or the Ark of the Covenant is also contained there. That's interesting to me. I would like to check it out. I think that'd be pretty interesting. The Library of Alexandria that burned down has also always intrigued me, so I don't know what they're hiding down there, but I would like to see it all.
Yeah, I think we'd probably be a little bit underwhelmed once
think
we got
so,
down
too.
there. Yeah.
I think they're kind of overhyping
Yeah.
it probably. All right, North Sentinel Island, the island in the Bay.
Oh,
of-
I've read about this.
Yes, this one's kind
I've
of
seen
scary.
videos. Though they're
They're on TikTok on my algorithm.
yeah, they're drone videos.
Yeah.
The uncontacted tribes.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yep.
So an indigenous tribe in voluntary isolation who have defended, often by force, their protected isolation from the outside world. Travel to the island and any approach closer than 5 nautical miles is forbidden in order to protect the remaining tribal community from mainland infectious diseases against which they likely have no acquired immunity.
That's right.
That is crazy.
I think there was like a Christian missionary that went there and was like, God is going to protect me. And God
got
was like,
eaten.
I was protecting you by telling you not to go there. There are
Yeah.
like hundreds of people told you not to go there. That was me protecting you.
I was protecting you by giving people the knowledge
That's
of
right. Exactly.
we should
yes.
ban travel.
Yes, maybe that was the message you missed there because the missionary, I believe, did get eaten.
He did.
It's
He did.
unfortunate.
Another Atlanta moment, the Coca-Cola Vault. It houses the written original recipe of Coke. According to the company, only 2 employees are privy to the complete formula at any given time, and they are not permitted to travel together. That's like the queen.
Yeah.
And they're the king
This
now.
is a real thing, too. Yeah. There's only like 2 people on earth that know the actual Coke formula or how to get it. Yeah.
So good. When one dies, the other must choose a successor within the company and impart the secret to that person. The identity of the 2 employees in possession of the secret in itself is a secret.
Let's say that again.
Wait, let me read it
The
again.
identity of the secret.
The identity of the secret employees is a secret.
Is a secret. Okay, I got you. Yeah.
Okay, next one, Global Seed Vault. I've heard that this actually kind of fell down a little bit.
Really?
Yeah, that the seeds got destroyed or something.
Some of them did a few years back. Yeah.
Often called the Doomsday Vault, it's a secure facility on the remote Norwegian island that serves as a backup for the world's crop seeds and is closed to the public to protect its integrity and the seeds within.
Huh.
Okay, I think I'd sit that one out.
Yeah, so
personally.
this is in case, like some crop that we need gets wiped out. We've at least got some seeds.
Another name for this place is called the Doomsday Vault.
Right.
Because they've just got every kind of seed you would ever need to restart civilization.
Society,
And get a
good idea, by
diverse
the way.
food group.
That's a great idea.
All right, last 2, Area 51, obviously, and then Snake Island, an island off the coast of Brazil in the Atlantic Ocean.
Oh, no thank
Yikes.
you. I would visit that with a blowtorch and just burn it to the ground.
Agreed. The island is the only natural home of the critically endangered venomous golden lancehead pit viper, which has a diet of birds.
We can live with that, by the way.
can.
We can live without that.
And that's it.
Critically endangered.
For trash.
That is trash. Great job, EG. It's presented by Mortgage Right. Alabama is underway. Mississippi State is underway. And the NCAA Tournament Day 2 off and running. EG 14-2 in one of her 9 brackets. Looking to go another 14-2. All right, we missed the photo. Is this the bacon? This is the slab of bacon that was the winner, Tyler?
Yes, we had more technical issues today. But
that's the story of the day, don't
Yeah, it's been the story of today, but it's okay. I got this picture pulled up. This was the slice of champion bacon. So if you looked... if you heard that story and wondered what on earth does champion bacon look like that sells for $2,100, it's this guy.
$2,100.
Yikes! I'm not purchasing.
Yeah, I just don't like bacon that much.
Me neither.
Not
I love
to pay
bacon,
that.
but not $2,100.
Yes, that's quite expensive for bacon. All right, that is trash, and that is going to do it for the show today. NCAA Tournament back underway. You guys enjoyed it over the weekend. Don't forget to look at nextroundlive.com for the Shannara Showdown every single day. Thank you to Champy's World Famous Fried Chicken for bringing you this last hour of the show. Champy'sChicken.com. Go see Sterling and the crew at Champy'sChicken.com. Award-winning bacon there, too, I'm sure. Sterling knows how to fry that up. But also those Mississippi Delta recipe tamales, the po' boys, the fried chicken, the great sides, all right there. Champy'sChicken.com. Champy'sChicken.com, Highway 119 in Alabaster. Thanks for joining us. Set your alerts. Dunaway and Little T live after Bama finishes, about 45 minutes to an hour after Bama finishes, but also at Next Round Live, a ton of content from this game and also from the post game for Alabama and Cleveland, and also from the Auburn locker room on their day to meet the media prior to round number 2 up in Lexington. That's all right there at Next Round Live. Thank you for joining us. Have a great weekend. We'll see you Monday on the Next Round.